Lots to talk about today on this episode of the Kit and Krysta podcast. We are sharing a fun story about you, sir.
I went to Game Freak.
You went to Game Freak in Tokyo.
So I'm going to tell you what it's like to go inside and see what they've got going on.
Yes.
And we got kind of like a double headliner today.
We do.
We got to talk about this Zelda leak.
Breaking news.
No spoilers. This will be a spoiler-free
discussion about
110% spoiler-free.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen it, so I can't even spoil you if I wanted to. Yeah. So there will be no spoilers, but we do have a lot to say about what happens when something like this happens and what goes on inside of Nintendo. Yeah. It's not great, honestly, and what it could all mean. So
indeed,
we will dig into that.
That and much, much more. I gotta say, last week we had to end this podcast abruptly because you had a bathroom emergency, right?
I did go to the bathroom right before.
Is that going to happen again today? This is another jam-packed show. I don't know.
It was like an over 2-hour episode. And you know how I start to get a little wonky.
A little loopy, yeah.
A little loopy.
I
both
do
of
too.
us do. Yeah, both of us get a little loopy after the 2-hour
But not loopy
mark.
In the bladder.
I had to pee. I'm a human. I'm not a robot. Contrary to your rumor milling about me and who I am.
You're a hologram. You're an AI hologram. You're not real.
Even holograms have to pee. That's the lesson here.
I don't think they do.
Well, if you want to hang out with us and support these kinds of discussions and more, join us on patreon.com/KitandKrysta.
Indeed.
Everything that we do is made possible by our wonderful Patreon subscribers. So yeah, join us there and support us. We are on a journey, a spirit journey to get back to Japan this year.
We have never had more Patreon subscribers than we do at this very moment, which is wonderful and incredible.
Yeah.
And we are slowly but surely making progress to this great goal of getting back to Japan this summer.
Yes, yes. So thank you to
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but we're getting close. We'll put a little progress bar here. But thank you for everyone who's already joined to support us. And please consider joining us. You get lots of really cool benefits like early access to this podcast and lots of other stuff. Join our Discord, get access to our bonus Q&As.
Yeah, it starts as low as $2 a month, and you can also sign up for a free trial on our most popular tier, which will get you early access to the podcast and access to our Discord. So check it out.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Jinx. First of all, we have a great episode of Super Kit and Krysta 64, which maybe you've already seen. If not, you should go watch it. We went retro game shopping.
Yeah, it's been a while, like a pretty long while, since I've actually been inside of a retro game store. I've definitely bought things online, or we used to go to like the Nintendo garage sales, which had some old stuff, but never to like a actual retro game store. So we actually checked out 3 in the San Jose Bay Area. And we got some good stuff.
We really did.
Yeah, I was really impressed with all of the stores. We asked our wonderful Patreon community to send us a little shopping list of things that they wanted us to track down. I think we did pretty good. We did
mostly well.
I think we actually did pretty good.
Yeah, a couple things on that list are just hard to find, so I can't really hold it against these stores for not having it.
Right.
But after this, I definitely fell back in the hole of retro gaming.
You did. You were deep in.
I've been back to some of these stores. I've been on eBay. I've got a list of things I'm looking out for. I'm going to be talking about some of this and the games we've been playing later on.
It totally just it was a Pandora's box in the best way for you after we went to the store. You actually said you went back.
Yeah, I went back this weekend.
One of the stores this weekend.
Yes, the game shop downstairs, which I think of the 3 was my favorite.
Me too.
In downtown San Jose. And I got 2 games on my list. I got
there you go.
Batman, NES Batman based on the movie. And I got Jackal, which is a great kind of Konami arcade game where you're shooting stuff up in a Jeep. I
really miss all of the movie-based games.
When they used to be good?
Yeah, when they used to be good. They used to come out right when the movies came out and right when that thing was hot,
Yeah.
You were playing a number of Disney games.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I miss
the Capcom Disney
era
connection was incredible.
That was a magical time that it's hard to replicate now, I think.
It is.
We have here, if you're watching on video, my beautiful treasure, which is a Pikachu N64. just because we have the retro games on the mind.
Well, it's also Pokemon Day right around the corner.
That's true.
And that's why we're sharing the story about going to Game Freak.
Yeah.
You know what we're not doing? Predictions for Pokemon Day.
We cannot. We have
Somebody tapped us on the shoulder and said, hey, you're doing too many predictions. Cool it with the predictions. Or stop.
Or stop. Whatever comes first. We'll stop. It's okay.
It's a fair point.
We predicted too much. It was like a lot going on in the beginning of the year. So the predictions were a little bit necessary.
Can't be right too much, right?
Oh, yeah. What is it? A broken clock is right twice.
No, that's not what it is. How dare you? We've been right about a lot.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I do think we're right about it. Anyways, we do have retro games on the brain.
Yes.
We got Pokemon on the brain. But yes, this is my treasure, my N64 Pikachu edition. On display.
Another question we have been getting a lot, which is a fair question, which is why weren't you guys at Super Nintendo World this weekend?
Yes,
so I figure we should talk about that. To keep it simple, we weren't invited.
No, we were definitely not invited. This is kind of like, what we thought was going to happen once we left Nintendo and we're no longer with the company. There has to be some degree of separation that I think we need to have with Nintendo, and Nintendo needs to have with us as well. They had all of their big, executives there.
Right. They had all these opening events and like a press day, creator day.
They had like some sort of red carpet event. Like those are things that I think, we would have worked on if we were at the company. We would have been on the other side of that, working on bringing these media and creators to Super Nintendo World. But we never expected, and I don't think we should expect, Nintendo to ever put us on their like press list or creator list. Like there has to be some degree of separation between us now that we're independent. I think it's a good thing. Like in the moment, I did feel a little jealous, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had that little twinge, like, if we were at Nintendo still, we'd probably be working this
Absolutely
event.
Would have been doing stuff there. Yeah.
Which would have been really fun, especially to see, anytime I get to see Mr. Miyamoto in person, like so joyful is a treat.
Right.
So it was great to see him. He looked like he was having the best time at the event. But yeah, and then I was thinking about it some more. I was like, it would have been very awkward for us to be there at an event like that on this side of the fence, right? Because we left the company on very good terms. We never talk about Nintendo in a negative way on purpose, but we certainly are not going to be.
We're honest.
Exactly, we're not going to hold back our opinions about our time there and what we think of the company now. We want to share that honesty with you guys, and so I think for that reason, it's good for us meaning us and Nintendo, to have some line that we now stand on either side of, right?
So that was all happening mid last week, but then it was opening day, so anybody could go.
Yeah.
And there was a time when we were thinking of, gosh, we should try and be there.
Yeah.
And then we thought twice, and we thought, well, it's going to be jam-packed, and I saw some pictures, and it looked really claustrophobic.
It looks insane.
And I think our thinking was, this is something we've looked forward to for so long and is going to be really meaningful for both of us. Like, let's make sure we have a great experience when we go instead of being stressed out or being too crowded and can't do anything. And frankly, people have been going to this this theme park for a month now, and the Japan one's been open for years. Right. So there's nothing super new about it necessarily.
Yeah, we knew that we're not going to be the first to share with you guys something.
So I think that was the right call to skip this opening weekend. But we are going soon. We are going early March.
Yes.
Right. So you can look forward to a lot of stuff from us.
We're going to be sharing with you our experiences. We've worked a little bit on, and we of course were at Nintendo when this idea of opening a theme park was just germinating. So I'm actually, with all of that background that we have, I'm actually interested to see, will I be disappointed or will I be, impressed?
Disappointed?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think I'll be disappointed.
I don't think so either. But we're not going in as fresh as other people.
I have been avoiding a lot of the videos that have been posted.
I mean, from like you know how those rides came together.
I generally know, but like I see those videos of people like going through the warp pipe, and I immediately like scroll past those. It's like I don't want to do. I want to experience that for myself.
Spoiled by it, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see like if it matches my imagination of when I first heard about it, when we were first talking about it at Nintendo, when we were first seeing all that stuff like start to come together. Like, is it going to live up to my imagination? Because I haven't really watched a lot of videos myself either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be really fun. And it's going to be birthday month for you.
That's right.
In March.
It's a nice bonus.
So, we're going to be celebrating your birthday at Super Nintendo World, like a child.
Now, you have bathroom problems recording this podcast. You seem to think I'm going to have a vomiting problem going on this Mario Kart ride.
You are not a theme park person.
I'm really not.
You really don't like theme parks. You don't like roller coasters.
Well,
you don't like rides.
My big issue is I don't believe roller coasters are safe. I strongly believe that most of those are not safe. Wow. This is not a roller coaster, though. This is like a augmented reality.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably goes fast at spots, but it's not like doing loop-de-loops and like get your arm chopped off kind of thing.
But if you have never been on one of those types of rides before, it can be...
Have you been on one of those?
Absolutely. I went to the Harry Potter world.
They have that?
Yeah, that's the whole...
So you put on glasses and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Simpsons World as well, Universal. They're really known for those types of augmented reality rides.
Are we going to go to any of the... I don't want to go to anything else while we're there.
I don't think we should.
I don't really want to.
I think we should concentrate on going through the, like, really getting deep.
Let's spend the whole day. We're going to spend the whole day there.
We're going to spend the whole... Gotta eat all the stuff, too.
It opens we're getting there, 8 a.m.?
Yeah, we have the early access.
That's very early.
It's very early for me.
That's so early.
Person, so. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you have never been on one of those kinds of augmented reality rides, it's a little disorienting.
Okay.
So hopefully you don't get like nausea from it. I have a very high tolerance for like motions. I don't get motion sickness, but some people do. So
yeah. Well, we'll find out. It'd be great content to see me vomit.
I have to like
there's the thumbnail right there.
Blur it out with like vomiting emojis just all the way down and while you like yak into a trash can or something.
No. Toad holds out a trash can for me.
Ow! No! He's like the Toad. He's gonna hold out that frying pan for you.
Oh no, not Chef Toad. No, that's not sanitary. Just regular run-of-the-mill Toad, not Chef Toad. No. Absolutely not. You can that's just disgusting.
Vomit into a warp pipe. Where does it go? Nobody knows. Anyways, hopefully you don't have that experience. Hopefully it's going to be magical and fun, and I think it will.
We'll be talking a lot more about that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, this month is almost over. It's February 20th as we record this today.
I know.
So it's like less than 2 weeks we're going to go.
I know.
It's exciting. Yeah, it's good. One other thing, we are having our Patreon February meetup this weekend. This is where we meet with our two highest tiers, One Up Club and Superstars.
Yes,
and this
my
weekend,
favorite time of the month.
We are going to be playing Jackbox.
We are. You were sick one meetup.
I had to miss one meetup because I was very ill.
You were very sick, and so we decided to that group that meetup that month we decided to play Jackbox, and it was really fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to that because I actually learned a lot about our wonderful Patreon community playing some of those Jackbox games. You really get into their psyche, and then it's nice because everyone can play. You don't need to own anything. You can just play on your own.
It's surprisingly hard to find games to play with a bigger group like that.
Like, and then you don't want people to feel obligated to go like buy a game.
Don't even get me started the time we tried to do Fortnite. Oh. I had to sign up for like the Epic Games, like creator or whatever. I had to put in like my social, like why does Epic Games need my social security number to do a group match in Fortnite? Are you joking me?
It was crazy annoying, yeah. Although we did have a good time playing GoldenEye.
We did.
That was probably one of the best ones we did. That one, and we did Splatoon. That was fun too.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we're playing Jackbox. It's going to be great. If you sign up, then you can.
We do those monthly. So if that sounds fun to you, it's not too late to sign up.
Yeah.
Before we get into this great Game Freak story, I gotta say, this episode is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, HelloFresh.
With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You have been telling me that you have felt stuck in a food rut.
I hate this.
Well, it's coming to an end.
Yes, exactly. I have been definitely stuck in a food rut where I don't know what I feel like eating and I just keep making like really basic
It's the same stuff you've been making again and again.
Over and over again. I'm tired
understand
of it.
that.
Yeah, and HelloFresh is a great way to break out of my food rut because they have tons of recipes to choose from. Everything is pre-proportioned. You don't need to go to the grocery store. And it's also like very easy for me to try a new recipe with HelloFresh because I don't like end up with all of these extra ingredients or seasonings that go to waste because I only made the recipe one time.
Right.
So yeah, I've been trying to get out of my food rut. I'm cooking up some HelloFresh recipes, and it's definitely pushing me out of my like normal cooking comfort zone. So I really, really like that.
Right. There's all sorts of different types of cuisine. You said you've gotten also the pescatarian option or a vegetarian option. Yep. So a lot of different things to choose from. Yeah. Very good. Go to HelloFresh.com/KitKrysta65 and use code KitKrysta65 for 65% off plus free shipping. I repeat, go to HelloFresh.com/KitKrysta65 and use code KitKrysta65 for 65% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Ooh.
All right. Oh, you can get that right in.
Jump the gun there,
We're going to put the link right here and also in the description below. Check it out.
Yeah. I'm going to go off script here.
You are?
So I'd say, well, I just mentioned that the next thing is the Game Freak story. Turns out it's not, but it is now.
Oh,
yeah. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
And then we'll get into some other stuff. So, yes, Pokemon Day is upon us, which had us thinking about Pokemon. We got some great Pokemon stuff on the set here. And it did make me think about the time I went to go visit Game Freak.
Yeah. What a special trip that was for you.
So this was 2010, December 2010 to be specific. And I was part of a group that was bringing over some media to do a trip around Pokemon Black and White.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
One of the best games. I liked it a lot.
I think I liked Pokemon Black and White.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's in my top.
They definitely
rankings.
went very far of like we're reintroducing a lot of like they did so many new Pokemon for that one. It did feel pretty different from what they had been doing up to that point.
Yeah.
And in case people don't know, way back then, these games did not come out globally on the same day.
That's right. Yeah.
So the game came out in the US and Europe in March, but when we did this trip, it was already out in Japan. So there used to be this kind of months-long gap where I guess if you wanted to import it, you could, but most people just were waiting.
Yeah. And the thing is that you probably know a fair amount about the game at that point as well, because all the news had already come out.
Yeah,
because it was out in Japan.
And we've talked about how we had hosted Mr. Masuda and other Game Freak developers in the US before, and that was something they loved to do. In this case, they had this big idea that I thought was cool was, let's have media come to Japan and experience the Pokemon phenomenon in its home country.
And it is different when you go to Japan and you see like all the people just obsess about Pokemon and play on the train and all that stuff. It's a different culture for sure.
Right. So on the US side of things, we had 3 media who came with us, and I think there were a little bit more from Europe, and then there were a handful from Australia, I believe. So it was not a huge group. Honestly, we had like way too many PR people and handlers and helpers and there was a TPC person who very graciously was our host for the whole week. Translators. Yep. Yeah, back then TPC was not as savvy about these things as I would say they absolutely are now. I remember they hired a non-employee to be kind of the guide in Japan for the media of I'm going to pick the restaurants. I'm going to help you get around. I'll be your translator.
Yeah, almost like a tour guide.
For anything when we're not in an interview. Like basically a tour guide.
Yeah.
Right. And I think now they would be much more well-equipped to do that sort of thing. It went fine, though. That was fine. But it was just slightly unusual to have, somebody outside the kind of core group
yeah.
be a part of that.
More of like this like outsider kind of weird vibe.
Right. But we had probably like two people or handlers per media, which is like we had a huge group, but we're not that many people actually doing media stuff. So what they got to do was they got to come out to Tokyo, they got to play the game, they got to talk to the developers, they got to tour the Game Freak office, and we went a few places to take in this Pokemon experience in Japan. A fun little bit of trivia about Game Freak is that their office was in a building, very cute name, Carrot Tower.
It's like a Pokemon name.
They're no longer there, I will say. They moved.
Are they in Roppongi?
They moved in 2020 to a building. I couldn't confirm for sure if it's the same building that Nintendo's Tokyo headquarters are in.
Oh, okay.
It's either in the same building or extremely close.
Close to it.
Which I think is cute.
That's very
cute. That's nice. And it makes a lot of sense for them to be close. Right.
Well, they have the store very close to each other too now. The Tokyo Nintendo store is in the same...
Is that close?
Is in the same plaza as one of the Pokemon centers, I believe.
Well, the Pokemon Center.
Yes.
But not the office.
No.
The office is not a Pokemon Center.
I wish it was. But you know what I mean? Like they usually put their retail stuff close together, and then maybe now their offices are close together as well, which is kind of nice.
And Carrot Tower is just one of these like pretty modern like high rises. Is probably like
that neighborhood that they used to be in is very ritzy.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Roppongi is like one of the most expensive neighborhoods.
I'm not sure this was Roppongi.
Are you sure?
You keep saying this.
It's not? I thought it was.
I know that's where Konami used to be and where Kojima Productions used to be, and that is like a very glitzy.
I thought it was also in Roppongi, but
major high rent area.
Yeah, they have all the fancy stores there.
Right. So we load everybody up into this bus, we get into the studio. It was right around Christmas time because it was December, and they had a very cute little Pikachu with like a Santa hat waiting for us out there.
Their Christmas decorations are always the best.
But they shuffle us into this kind of big meeting room right when you get in. And it looked very like if you've seen those Pokemon Presents videos where Mr. Ishihara or who's like the hot COO guy.
Yeah.
The Silver Fox.
The K-pop boy band guy.
And it's just like a big meeting room that's like just walls, like shelves and shelves of plushies and merch and toys and stuff. So it is cool to be in there, just like completely 360 surrounded by this stuff. And Mr. Masuda and some of the other developers came in, and they, gave us a demo of the game, and they gave us a presentation of like, here's our vision, here's what we're trying to achieve. Very cool thing to see, even though, and it's a good thing to do when people are already pretty familiar with the game.
Exactly.
But then after that, they did something that I thought was the coolest thing of the whole trip. It was, all right, Ken Sugimori's here. He is the art director, and he, created a lot of the original 151 Pokemon.
Yeah.
He's going to do a live drawing right now.
It's so cool.
Of Oshawott.
Yeah.
And I took a video of that.
Yeah.
And we're putting some of that here. We're actually going to release that whole video as a standalone thing.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to watch. Like, he is a very I'd say he's a very muted personality, where he's just kind of like keeping to himself, like very stoic, like does not show a lot of emotion. But he just kind of sat down at this table and grabbed a pen and just like, he must have drawn this a bajillion times. Drawing this Oshawott, drew it perfectly. And it looked amazing. So that's something that was really special to see.
I feel like his personality sort of reminds me of Koji Kondo's personality.
Oh,
They're both very like muted.
Yeah.
But when they sit in front of their medium, they come to life.
Yeah.
He obviously his medium is drawing and art.
Right.
And he totally just this video of him that you took, you can just see it, just like it comes like second nature to him, just like when Mr. Kondo sits in front of a piano. Right. So interesting when you're like that kind of talent. But yeah, super cool.
Yeah, and his style is so just iconic and really cool.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
So after that, we kind of shuffle out of that meeting room and we get a tour of the office, which is really cool because a lot of Japanese studios are very concerned about, you're going to see something that you're not supposed to, or we're not comfortable with this, or this is just not what we do. But they were very open about this, and we saw pretty much everything.
That's pretty cool.
And, we've talked about how sterile the Nintendo office is, which is absolutely not the case for every Japanese developer.
Right.
This office was really vibrant and colorful. They have a thing where all of their conference rooms are themed to give people some sort of a creative spark.
Okay, that's really cool.
And I guess in their new building now, the theme of the whole office is Pokemon Red and Blue.
Okay.
So I looked at they have some pictures that are out there. I wouldn't say it was like overtly like based on the game, but I think just like some of the color schemes are themed. But they also have that very, energetic, very highly decorated office now.
Yeah.
I do remember 2 of the rooms. One was like a jungle theme.
Oh my gosh.
This was my favorite one. I think I remember sitting in that room to do some of the interviews with Mr. Masuda. And I don't know how they did this. They had like vines and like a big like fake tree in there. Like
so
they
cool.
went all out
Yeah.
to make this feel like you were in the jungle.
Yeah.
And it was super
cool. That would
cool.
give you a creative spark if you were thinking about doing something in the game that was like that environment.
Yeah, or if you just need I just need to get in a different mindset.
Yeah, I'm too
I need to get out of this
in
office.
my computer too much or something.
There was another one which I didn't like as much, but I understand why they have there. No, it was like this has like the motif of like a child's bedroom.
Oh.
And not in like a creepy way.
That sounds like a horror movie.
But I mean they do, they're very transparent of like, like Pokemon's for a lot of kids love Pokemon. So maybe it was like, I need to make sure that I am
in the mind of a child.
That I am, making something that children can appreciate, or like what is the perspective of a child? I don't know. I didn't spend a lot of time in that one. Okay, I understand your story, but I'll go back to the jungle room. But yeah, all these conference rooms just themed different ways for creativity.
Yeah.
Which, again,
so smart.
in comparison to
the white box
Nintendo,
that we lived in at Nintendo.
Which was just a sterile white room with maybe just like a metal shelving unit or something.
Not
and
even
nothing
that.
else. Yeah.
Just literally just like a blank white room.
Yeah, no windows, no nothing.
Yeah.
And they did take us through the development area, which I was really surprised. And I was looking so hard for 3DS dev units because the 3DS was coming out in March
That's right, of
2011.
That year, the year after. Yeah.
And that was what everybody had said. It was like, Game Freak was the first studio to get 3DS dev kits.
Oh.
And obviously, their first game was X and Y on the 3DS. So nobody knew what they were working on yet, but it's like, can you at least see the hardware or something? Like people knew what a 3DS was.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything.
Of course, they locked it away.
They put those away at least.
Yeah, they definitely were like, Meteor coming, we're going to put some stuff away.
Yeah. Yeah. My whole impression of the office was that it was really beautiful and really painstakingly put together, but not as big as you would think for a studio that just made out these multi-million-dollar hits.
Yeah.
Like even their development area, which was just like this large, long room, there's not that many people in here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure they've grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think efficient. Like this is one of the in terms of making hits, like this is the studio, and they're very, it's a pretty
small office.
Smallish office. So I understand why they moved into this new office where, they could not have expanded into this new place unless they wanted to get more floors or whatever.
Yeah.
So we did that. We did our interviews. It was great. We said goodbye to them. They didn't come with us for anything after that. They were busy.
Yeah. Well, they were working on stuff.
But we had all of our Pokemon Company handlers who were very nice and were helping us around.
Yeah.
I've heard Pokemon Company office is also really over the top cool.
Really?
I never went there though.
Oh.
Yeah.
The one in Bellevue that we went to.
I've never been to that one.
Oh, I've been to that one.
You went to that one?
Multiple times.
Okay.
I was going to say, when you were talking about Game Freak's offices, it kind of reminds me of the Bellevue Pokemon Company office in Seattle.
They do have those big statues. I've seen
many pictures. But
That's
they
neat.
have a lot of the merch is on display.
Yeah.
The conference rooms are themed after different Pokemon
That's
games. Good. So they have a sort of a spirit of that as well. But those offices are super, super nice.
Yeah. Well, in our Nintendo office, we had a meeting room that was called Animal Crossing that was just the world's most boring plain meeting room inside.
The names of the conference rooms were Nintendo games, but none of it was decorated.
Nothing was themed.
Yeah.
So after that, we get out and they take us, again, now we're into the experiencing the Pokemon phenomenon. We went to a Pokemon Center.
Nice.
Which is a Pokemon-specific store, which is often in a mall. And there's a lot of these.
Yeah.
And they all have some sort of a big, like, visual flourish in them. Like, there's one now, I don't know which one it is. They actually have, like, the Mewtwo in the, like...
In the tube.
In the
test tube, yes.
Like, whoa! And it looks...
I saw a picture of Mr. Masuda next to it.
Yes.
When they were like, that store opened.
Mr. Masuda's Instagram is a good follow if you aren't following him yet.
I know, you should.
He's got a lot of cool stuff. But... like sometimes it's like huge like statues or stuff hanging from the ceiling. It's like visually very cool. And they're all different. And sometimes they have different merchandise at different ones.
Yeah.
To like reflect the spirit of the city.
Yeah.
So like I've been to the ones in Kyoto. I think there's a couple in Tokyo.
I remember I went to one when I was in a different part of Japan, like way down south.
Oh yeah.
Like Ishigaki area. And they had like all of the tropical Pokemon, and then in the Pokemon Center, so it was like everything Alola. But that was before the Alola region even existed.
They were teasing it. Oh no. They were teasing
it. That's it. But like, yeah, there was supposed to be like exclusive to that town.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. So it's very well thought out, really fun. Our group really enjoyed doing some shopping there. And that was kind of like, we really had just one full day of doing a lot of big stuff. There was one other thing that happened, which almost was a real issue with one of our attendees. So I will not say who this person is, but one of our media was a freelancer for a pretty big outlet. And they were absolutely like a Pokemon mega fan and very well equipped to write the story based on this. But I will just say, like, they were a little green in terms of like life experiences. I don't think they had ever traveled outside of the US before. And I remember like I had to really, like, I was on the flight with this person and I had to like basically hold their hand through like customs, like, no, now you're gonna need to show your passport, now you're gonna blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
That was not the issue though. This person almost got arrested on the Tokyo subway.
Oh, gosh.
I was not with them. They got brought back to the hotel by the police. And they said, this person was taking photographs of people on the subway and they got reported. And I don't think they were doing it maliciously.
Yeah, they're really sensitive to that kind of stuff in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, that you shouldn't really be doing that anywhere, honestly.
Well, of people?
Of people.
Or like, are you taking photos of yourself?
No, it was like of people, I think. I think they were trying to do some like artsy photography or something. I don't know. Anyhow, could have gone really bad. I mean, the police dropped them off and it was like, don't do this again. But
Probably.
If you were in a different city, like, it could have been real bad. So that was a little jolt of excitement for all of our
that's so sad
for all
and
of our
scary.
media handlers. They're like, there's 30 of us to one media, and this person almost got arrested. Cool, good job by us.
What are you doing?
This was during our free time. This person was like, I'm gonna go check out the city by myself. Like, great, have fun.
Oh, so you never should leave them alone.
Yeah.
You're like in like the Pokemon cafe or something, drinking a Pikachu latte while this person was gonna get arrested.
We're all living our own lives here, okay? People do what they want. Just don't get arrested.
Oh, no.
Because I don't know how to bail somebody out of Japanese prison.
You can't.
I don't know how.
They have a 99% conviction rate, by the way, in Japanese prison.
So
I just listened to a podcast about that.
So again,
I was like,
very close call.
That's very high.
But it had a happy ending. And that was the trip. Very, very memorable, going to see Game Freak and get a little glimpse into all of their processes.
Yeah.
And again, do the flip side of, because they came to see us, year after year after year.
They love
It was fun to turn the tables on them.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think a lot of people can say that they've been inside that office, so it's pretty special.
Very, very wonderful memory of
We
mine.
did try to get me to go, but our boss was like, absolutely not. We tried to make a case
I know
for me.
we did, yeah.
It was a good effort by us. And then he was like, absolutely not. What is your role?
Oh, well.
Oh
well.
I want to
Having a good time? Yeah.
I just want to go. That's
all right. We are on to our Never a Minute segment here. And you might remember last week we talked about whether the Switch life cycle and whether it was overstaying its welcome or it was doing fine or needed more time.
Yeah.
One of our Patreon superstars had a great idea of, why don't you look back at different life cycles of different consoles and decide Was it too short? Was it too long? Was it just right? So we have how many? Eight
Yes.
different systems. Not just Nintendo.
Yeah.
All sorts of
All
consoles.
sorts.
And we're going to
With
decide.
all different life cycle lengths. And we're going to decide whether it's overstayed its welcome, was cut down before its prime, or just right.
Yeah. Our first one is the GameCube, which had a life cycle of 2001 to 2006. So I decided the life cycle was when the next console came out. Obviously, there may have still been things
Stuff
coming out.
for that console, but yeah.
Just to have a very clear cutoff for all of these.
Right.
That's how we're doing it.
Right.
So 2006 is obviously when the Wii came out.
Right.
What do you think about the GameCube?
I think it was cut down before its prime.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I have the opposite. I'd say it overstayed its welcome.
Oh, see, I really personally love the GameCube.
Right.
And I think that if there were more software, if there was more games to support, I think the problem with GameCube is that there wasn't that many games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but if there were more games on that console, I think it could have survived much longer and would have been
Well, it's a lot of what ifs here. So keep trickling some games out for 2-3 years? What was?
Yeah, I think it would have been really great if they were able to support that console with more games. But because it was, towards the end there was like nothing for the GameCube, I can see why it ended pretty fast. That life cycle is really short.
Yeah. I am of the mindset that when you have a dud of a hardware generation, you kind of got to just get in and get out. Well, you don't want to make people think you're cheaping them out by moving on too soon.
Yeah.
But this was a solid 5 years, and you probably could have gotten away with 4. There's been some major revisionist history about the GameCube. Like the GameCube at the time was Nintendo's worst selling console.
Yeah, it was really not great.
The proverbial quote last place amongst its competitors. And there's some great games on it, but it was not Nintendo's best work. But these days, everybody's like, oh, we love GameCube's iconic. We all had a GameCube. Everybody loved the GameCube. It's like, it's not exactly what it was in the moment.
I have some personal bias with GameCube because it's the first console I ever bought for myself with my own money.
Okay.
So I was in college when the GameCube was out. And I just feel like, for me at the time, it was perfect. It had games that I could play with my friends.
Well, whatever system you had in college is going to be an all-timer.
That's what I'm saying. I have some personal bias, I think.
Right.
So I wish we had those days a little longer.
Yeah.
Because it was such a formative time for me to get, especially because I was kind of getting back into gaming at that time. So maybe that's why I said that. But I could see, it's kind of like the Wii U mentality that Nintendo had. It's like, well, we're done with this.
Yeah.
We need to move on.
Yeah. Next, we have the Wii, 2006 to 2012.
I said overstayed its welcome.
That's what I said as well.
The last few years of Wii, the
bottom fell out real fast.
That was really rough for us. We were really grasping.
That was a big surprise.
Straws. Yeah, that was a big surprise.
It was almost like overnight. It's like we went from being the hottest thing, sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Grannies and grandpas playing Wii bowling.
Right.
To then just nobody cares.
That's what happens
what do we do?
when it's that lightning in a bottle effect, I think.
Was the Wii a fad?
I think so.
I tend to agree. A lot of people say that very derisively, but I think if you what is the definition of a fad?
That's
it's something that people very quickly get on and get off of.
Right.
This was it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why that we felt that shift so tremendously when we were at Nintendo, because it was the highest of the highs of having this incredibly well-known system to the lowest of the lows where it just felt dated right away almost.
Yeah.
It was so strange, that feeling.
I remember in Reggie's book, he talks about this and kind of his perspective of that. And he does outline some of the mistakes that Nintendo made and really tried to learn from in the future about, don't just highlight the next game, highlight this great library of games that people can enjoy if people are getting on new. He had a lot of great thinking about that. But,
yeah.
Yeah. But you look at what came next, the Wii U, which I think we both agree felt a little half-baked when it came out. Like, they really couldn't get something out sooner.
They couldn't.
Like, they could barely get the Wii U out the door.
It was just the timing was terrible. Like, the way that they planned that, the timing for hardware was not good.
Yeah, like 2010 through the Wii U life was a rough time.
That was rough. The mini, those stupid colors.
For your ski chalet.
Those marketing,
for your Canadian ski chalet.
Those poopy marketing campaigns, thumbs down. We did bad.
I've never been to Canada, but I've been led to believe that everybody in Canada has a ski chalet with a Wii Mini.
The Nintendo ski chalet in Canada has a Wii Mini. I have a photo of that, actually. But yeah. Man, what a dud those couple of last years are for me.
Nintendo DS, 2004 to 2011. That's a long one, 7 years.
I put just right for this one.
Really?
Even though it was so stinking long, it just felt like there was still so much interest for the DS. Even as, like, we had 3DS and DS XL, DSi, like, we had all sorts of random stuff. Like, people just wanted to play their DS.
Yeah.
People still want to play their DS now. It's like, it just felt like a system that would just like sustain people's interests.
Right.
And if you had one, you played it and you kept playing it.
Yeah. I agree. I would lean a little bit more towards saying I think it had a little bit more life in it.
Oh,
actually,
wow.
I think.
Okay.
Because again, like, what was the competition? Like, sometimes, a lot of times there's competition that's making you move on to something else.
Sure.
And at this point, it's like, all right, we vanquished the PSP. Fine, we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
There's phones, yes, but
that was the time when the phones
this is not a phone.
Yeah, there was a question about mobile gaming.
I mean, it's like the sales were definitely trailing off, but they didn't, hit a brick wall.
No.
So I think you could have, if you kept making great games and you kept, tweaking these, versions of the hardware, releasing new versions of hardware, I think you could have kept this going for a little bit longer.
Yeah. At least until Switch, because obviously that handheld was taken over by Switch, the handheld market, I guess, or whatever.
And again, that transition to 3DS was a little bit rocky. So, write a good thing while you got it.
Yeah, the DS to 3DS transition is the scary thing that we don't want to happen from Switch to the next one, where the next thing is a gimmick. Yeah. It doesn't stick.
Right.
Whereas you could have just had your original hardware that you improved upon, made it better or something, right? Yeah.
Next one's a fun one. Sega Genesis, 1988 to 1994.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really ill-equipped to talk about this console because I never owned a Genesis. I don't have like a lot of personal experience.
So you're passing on this?
No, I'm going to say overstated.
Being uninformed never stopped you from voicing an opinion. Exactly.
You're going to listen and you're going to like it. I'm going to say overstayed its welcome.
Yeah. So when we did Sonic Week, I did a lot of research and reading and watching videos on just the Genesis in general because it was, so interesting. And I really, they had a lot of friction, I learned, between Sega America and Sega Japan.
Yeah.
And there was this big moment where it's like, okay, we need to do something next, and what are we going to do? And the US branch came up with the 32X, which is this bolt-on thing that you can add on to the Genesis and make it a 32-bit system.
Right.
Which was kind of a half step, but it, their thinking was like, well, this will buy us some time. Then the Japan branch, I guess, didn't tell the US branch that they were working on the Sega Saturn.
Right.
And they basically announced that as the 32X was coming out. Like, can you imagine the
cannibalization?
No, but also like the crossed wires, like how would you not
that would be
step on somebody's foot like that?
An all-time self-own.
Yes.
Like, if that happened at Nintendo, heads would roll. Heads would literally roll. That would be unheard of.
Yeah, this relationship between the America and Japan branch, I don't fully understand how that dynamic would work.
Yeah.
But that was really the nail in the coffin for them because 32X didn't really take off, and then the Sega Saturn wasn't anything great either, and that didn't work, and then the PlayStation just whacked them basically.
Right,
so
exactly.
It overstayed its welcome.
Yeah. I just think that I never it didn't have like an identity that was strong enough to carry them, even when
Being edgy was the identity.
That's not
that was all it was.
That's
your entire personality is being edgy, bro. It's called bro.
You see how it didn't work for GameCube either. I watched those old GameCube commercials and I was like, oh my god, this is horrible.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. Not the
so
best.
That's why. Don't try to be edgy, people. That'll make your system totally fail.
Next, the original Xbox from 2001 to 2005.
Short
very
life
short.
Cycle.
Very, very
Cut
short.
down before its prime. Oh. Although I do really like the next one that came after that.
I think this one was just right, actually.
You think that they needed to make room for Xbox 360?
I think they had a very clear idea of what they wanted to do, and they had an opportunity. So there were a number of things. We're moving on from standard definition to high definition.
HD, yep.
We have all these big ideas about how we can expand Xbox Live, which we've now introduced and people like.
Yeah.
And we can get the Xbox 360 out a year before Sony puts out the PlayStation 3.
They had to get smart about that. So it did feel like the reason why it was cut down before its prime was because 360 was opportunistically positioned.
Yeah.
So it's okay. But I think the original Xbox had like so much promise and like, it was such like when it came out, it truly felt like, oh, this is like the next step in gaming. This is the next thing. Like this feels like a new evolution in like the history of video games and how you played video games. So just to see it be a 4-year thing is like kind of sad. But then when you think about 360 coming at the heels of that and what that console meant, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
It didn't feel that short in the moment. I mean, I had an original Xbox. It felt like, all right, fine, we're moving on. And the next system was really great.
That's the thing, yeah. The next system.
And when they pulled the plug on the original Xbox, they really pulled it.
That's what I'm saying.
There was like no support, no games, nothing.
It was so...
We have moved on.
It was so abrupt.
Right.
Like, no one does that anymore, I feel like.
Yeah.
So good for them for just being very like, and the next one is out. You need to buy that one if you want to play these games at all.
Exactly.
Which I did.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do think like I have very fond memories of the original Xbox, and like even like looking at these dates now, I'm like, oh god, that's so short. That's so sad.
Up next, the Xbox 360, 2005 to 2013. Again, the longest life cycle on this whole list, 8 years.
Yeah, this is probably the top. Well, yeah, I think this might be my favorite system on this whole list, actually. Mm-hmm. And I think Just Right would be my...
Yeah.
I mean, they probably could have extended it even a little bit more, but I think it didn't feel like it was, super dated or anything towards the end of its life cycle. It didn't feel like, we were like, oh God, like when are we going to just move on to the next one? Yeah. Like it didn't ever feel like that. Like I think I was playing my 360 for a long time.
They got the absolute most out of this thing.
Yeah.
And a great software library.
Yeah.
Just great innovations in Xbox Live. They Connect that really gave it a second life.
Oh yeah, Connect.
But then again, like the next generation was a complete dud. Xbox One. Xbone.
I never bought Xbone.
I did.
I know.
And I sold it very fast.
You did not like that Xbone
I hated
at all.
Thing.
It was
They had no games that I wanted. I bought it for Titanfall, which was a great game.
I played that on Xbox 360.
And then I just sat around. I was like, anything else? And then nothing else came out, and I sold it.
Yeah, terrible.
And I canceled my Xbox Live subscription, which is really hard to do.
And now you have like multiple usernames?
No, now I just have a new one. So I lost all of my achievements, my Chivos. I lost them all. I don't care.
I have my Chivos.
It's fine. Oh, you had that? You were paying for Xbox Live when you didn't even, or did it just go like dormant?
Dormant. Oh. Yeah, and then I got my next Xbox was the Series S.
I really rage quit on the Xbone.
Yeah, I missed that whole generation because I went from 360 to Series S. Isn't that crazy?
It's fine. I mean, I think a lot of people.
But I loved my 360. Like I played it for a long.
That's a top tier console.
Even though I'm known to throw things away, like I still have mine.
Really?
Because I love it.
Which one is it? Is it the original kind of curvy one?
Yeah, the curvy
or
one.
like the S, the smaller one that was black?
No, I had the original curvy one.
Did you ever have a red ring?
No.
No?
I've never gotten it.
I had 5 red rings. Oh, that's upsetting.
I've never gotten it. And I was always like, what are people talking about? This is fine.
Well, that's cool because I really like the look of that system.
Me too. Yeah. I know. I have, again, a very like special place in my heart for the 360. My first Street Fighter game.
Okay, yeah. All right, now we've got 2 Sonys to close us out. We have PSP, 2004 to 2011. That's pretty long.
That's kind of long, like longer than I thought. Overstayed its welcome. Sorry, PSP.
Well, so they had a real problem near the end.
Yeah.
And so did DS near the end with piracy.
That's true.
Major
That's
problems.
True. Yeah.
And they seem to not really, I mean, this was before you could fix a lot of these issues with firmware.
Right. Like if you had like ROM hacked or whatever your DS, like there's nothing they can do to stop you.
Right. So that was a big reason, I think, for both of these in moving on. But the PSP, I think, is a little bit like people say, like, oh, the PSP didn't live up to its potential. Like, it sold a lot of systems.
It did, yeah. I mean, Japan is a handheld market, as we know.
This was very popular in Japan.
Really popular there. Yeah, I remember it not being as popular here in the US, though. Did people buy a lot of PSPs here? I did not have one.
It picked up.
Did you have one?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I did. Had great games, great Sony support, which is something the Vita didn't have. I mean, I have a Vita, too, for God's sakes.
I know. Why do you have it? No, I know exactly.
You know why.
I know why you have a Vita.
I still have my Vita.
That was a silly reason to get a Vita.
I don't like it, though. I'm not Greg Miller. I'm making a lot of Greg Miller Vita references lately.
You really are.
I gotta stick it to him for that whenever I can, because it's so ridiculous.
He was very upset with the vote that
Brian Altano put up a poll.
Brian Altano's poll has sent Greg Miller into like a shame spiral or something.
Wii U versus Vita. Wii U won, thank goodness.
No.
Let's not be ridiculous here.
I voted for Wii U. Don't get mad at me, Greg.
But again, PSP, like, I really think it was the piracy that made them say, like, we got to get off this. Because this is killing us. Yeah. Otherwise, I think they could have kept going. Because, again, like, what was the competition?
DS.
Like, those games still looked good. I mean, yeah, DS, I mean, you'd be fighting, but you would always have the edge of, like, this is the higher-end system.
Which is what they do now with PS5
right. You could have kept going with that. So, I'm kind of sad. I'm nostalgic for the PSP.
You are nostalgic for the PSP. Yeah. I never had one. So
UMD movies. That was a great Untapped.
We saw so many old UMD movies at the retro stores. I was like, dang. Let's bust out that PSP, people.
Could be watching Liar Liar on my PSP.
It's a good movie. Jim Carrey? All right.
Our last one is the
quintessential system.
The Titan PlayStation 2. Ooh. 2000 to 2006. So much shorter than I thought.
I know.
But sold a ton.
They definitely could have squeezed more out of that one.
Well,
I think it was cut down before its prime.
This is a tough one because you had the HD revolution right ahead of us, and
that's true. Again, timing-wise,
think of Sony. Overall Sony, not just PlayStation. It's like, we have a TV business. We have a movie business. Yeah. We have a Blu-ray business. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for us to start to support all of those things in this system. Like the DVDs for PS2 was like, that was part of the reason so many people got it. So they probably thought, like,
that's why I got it.
We'll just follow this formula again and it'll be awesome. Well, it wasn't awesome.
What happened?
It sucked. $600. It was $600. And Ken Kutaragi told me to work 5 jobs to get it.
You didn't even, oh my God.
I still bought it.
I didn't buy it.
I didn't have to get a second job.
I got a PS4.
I saved up. You never had a PS3?
Nope.
The PS Triple, as Chad Warden said?
I didn't get it because it was $600. I didn't have $600.
I mean, it wasn't always $600.
I can't afford it.
I forgive you for skipping that generation.
I can't afford it.
It's understandable.
Although I did buy a PS5.
It's understandable.
So that's, like the same thing.
Man, PS2 is a juggernaut.
They should have totally supported it longer. They could have.
There were still, I think it did have a pretty good life after that. Remember, there was the very tiny PS2 that's...
Oh, yeah.
And there were still a lot of games that were coming out for PS2.
That's true.
So this is one that I think really...
People talk about PS2 still. It's like still relevant.
I think the way we're defining the life cycle here doesn't totally work as well for PS2.
Yeah, because it was a little bit more like it bled over.
It had a pretty good life afterwards.
Yeah.
But man, like the software library for that was
iconic.
Killer. Wow.
Everyone still talks about PS2 in such like reverent tones, as well as
a good reason.
Exactly, and for a good reason.
He was a monster. Well, that was fun.
How did you guys think we did? Do you agree with our analysis of these systems, or do you think differently? I want to know. Tell us in the comments if you think any of these things are should have been another category.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very fun.
All right, we're on to what we are playing.
We finally can talk about our secret game.
Our embargoed game is the embargo is no longer. It's Like a Dragon Ishin. We have both been playing it.
Thank you so much to Sega for getting us this game a bit early. We also, of course, attended the preview event for this game and totally got hooked in.
You should watch our video on that. It's very fun.
We have a really fun vlog on that. And again, this was, as we were talking about when we went to that preview event, this game was not on our radars at all until then. And now this is probably like the best game I played this year so far.
Oh, you think so too?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I'm just like kicking myself for not like getting more hyped about it earlier and not like really realizing that it was coming out so soon and all that stuff. But yes, you and I have both been playing. We're both really, really liking it a lot. One thing that we both really enjoy about this game, I think, is the setting. How it takes place in sort of like ancient Kyoto.
Yes, so this is a different kind of Like a Dragon or Yakuza game where it's set in the past.
Right.
1860s Kyoto.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's cool, interesting time in the history of Japan. Made us a little bit curious about the history of that time. I think we both kind of looked up a couple of things. Yeah, we're like, what's going on?
Get pretty deep into some historical details that I was a little bit worried on early of like, do I need to read up on Japanese history of this era to totally follow? Because they're talking like, there's these different class of samurai.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they do have an in-game glossary where you can see some of that.
Yeah.
I've come to realize, like, if you want to look that up, you can, but you don't have to.
Yeah. But it's an interesting time period of history in general in Japan. So it's kind of cool that the game is set in that time.
Yeah, so it's a time of change because, there's like all these like Europeans who have started to arrive and like they do make
more like industrialized.
That doesn't play like a big part in it, but there are some moments where like they'll mention like, this girl needs Dutch medicine.
Yeah. Or they're using guns.
Right. Yeah, there's guns.
Is one like big thing in this game.
Or like you will actually meet some figures who like I was like they're talking so specifically about this person. I looked up the name. It's like a real person.
Right.
And the main character of the game
is a real person.
Is actually a real person.
Ryoma.
Ryoma. Yeah. Who looks like Kiryu.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like they're using the faces.
Okay, this is such a cool like thing that they did where it's like the way that they explained it to us, I was like, this is ridiculous, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
So they have all of the Yakuza characters that you're really familiar with. And the way that they put them in this game is like, think about them as actors in a stage play. So he's like playing the role of Ryoma, basically. But it's his face and sort of his personality as well.
Yeah.
But you see lots of other familiar, like the guy with an eye patch. Right. That you see, the guy that owns like a club or whatever. Yeah. You see that in like almost every single Yakuza game. Like he is in this game as well as one of like the samurai that you interact with and stuff like that.
Right. The story is very good.
Yeah.
Again, it can get pretty complicated if you want to understand all the little moving parts. But basically, the idea is like your father figure was assassinated. And you infiltrate this kind of secret society to try and find out who it was. That is the most basic, high-level summary of the story.
Yeah, there's lots of different characters that you meet like along the way. Some of them are like real historical figures as well. And like some of the settings, like you're in like Kyoto. So you go to like Fushimi and you go to Gion and you go to all of these neighborhoods that like we've been to before. And it's like, this looks the same. Like this actually looks super familiar.
Yeah, Gion in particular does look
almost exactly
pretty much like it does in the game still now.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to see that kind of replicated in that way. Yeah.
Unlike the last game, this is a action-oriented battle system. It's not turn-based. So this is a remake, we should say, of a game that never came out in the US.
Right.
So it is going back to that style of fighting. I really like the fighting.
I actually really like the fighting. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more than the turn-based. I mean, I like the turn-based too, but
it's different. Yeah.
I like how this is like very fast. Yeah. And I like the fighting styles because you can choose between like just the sword, or sword and gun, or like brawler or gun. Right. So you can like very quickly switch between all the different styles, and I don't know, it like makes it feel like, let me just try this this style out and see how it feels this time or whatever.
Yeah, in other games, like they have different like fighting stances, but they always felt a little samey to me, so I never did too much of that. Like in this one, like they're obviously a sword is different from a gun.
Yeah.
So you have there's a lot of like strategic reasons for choosing one over the other.
Yeah.
And they all have their own kind of skill tree that you can fill out. That'll give you either more powerful attacks or different special attacks. I'm pretty much maxed out on the sword one at this point with just the gun after that. The brawler is the one that I haven't totally clicked with because it just seems very weak.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're like punching people should be less powerful than a sword.
Slashing people with a sword.
But like it also is based on like picking things up and using the environment as weapons, but it just doesn't feel as worthwhile.
I like the sword the best, and then the next one I like is sword and gun. The Wind Dancers stance, which is very interesting.
That's
like
a cool
you kind of do a little bit less. It's like
you can't block.
You can't block.
You dodge.
You dodge a lot. You're kind of like just spinning around.
Like a whirling kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the sword is not as you don't do as much damage with the sword as the sword on its own. You don't do as much damage with the gun as the gun on its own. But together, it's like really fun because you basically like dual wield these two weapons.
There is a really interesting system that they introduce kind of late into the game, I would say, where you're basically like a leader in this like unofficial police group.
Right.
And you can bring officers on to your squad basically, but they're not actually fighting alongside you. They're just basically like available like power-ups for you.
Yeah. They look like little like baseball cards.
It's like a trading card.
Yeah.
So they have a meter and then you can activate them to do different things, and some of them will heal you or some of them will give you
like a special attack.
A boost or a special. Some of those special attacks are cool. They're very like over the top.
So over the top. Like the one I have is like a lightning thing.
Yeah, you're doing like force lightning. You just
force
zap
lightning.
them.
You zap like 6 people at once and does like plus 400 damage. It's like amazing. So much fun.
I have a tiger that eats somebody's face off. You can also get a bear that mauls somebody.
Wow.
Get the chicken. You can have a chicken too.
I love a chicken.
This game loves chickens. Of course.
I love any chicken in any Yakuza game. I'm like in.
Right.
The healing one's helpful too. Like it just, like shadow heals you in the background.
Yeah.
So nice.
It's a very like in-depth system that again they introduced pretty late into the game, and I was like, am I gonna like this? Is this gonna be too much?
No, but it was like
it's cool.
Seamless.
It's cool. But like you can manage them a lot. Like you can buy new ones, you can power them up, you can like there's so many
they level up after
that
each
you can
battle.
choose from. They're all graded from like common, rare, ultra rare, that kind of thing.
I just have like my normal.
Yeah. I haven't had to tinker with it that much.
Yeah. This game is like, there is a lot of side things you can do.
You were saying like when you save, like your completion percentage is
like
still like under 10%.
9% or something like that.
Yeah, 100%ing this game would be a lot.
How do you do that? I don't understand because there's so many. Yeah, there's so many mini games, which is what makes this game super charming.
Right.
Like there's so many mini games, there's so many little
side stories.
There are like different people, characters that you're supposed to be meeting and interacting with, and I am obsessed with the Mahjong minigame in this game.
This is just like normal Mahjong, right?
It's almost identical to the Mahjong that I grew up playing. Like this is like a weird like fun fact about me is that like I come from like a town in China where Mahjong is really, really popular. It's like pretty
more
much
than other towns?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's like the #1 pastime in my hometown. And it used to be like a weekly occurrence. Like my grandma's house, like Sunday night dinners were always dinner, and then like all of the adults had like several tables of Mahjong. And like, my mom and like the entire family, they're like very versed in playing Mahjong. So I learned to play Mahjong. And I have like lots of fun memories of like playing with my grandmother and stuff like that. And so when I saw that there was like a Mahjong parlor, I had to like obviously check it out.
Yeah.
And the rules are really similar. And even like the words that you use, they sound like the Chinese words. So like my little routine for playing this game is like I'll play like a couple of chapters and then I'll go and like play Mahjong for like an hour. It's so fun. You can win a lot of money, so you can use you can gamble and get your money back.
At one point in my life, I knew how to play Mahjong, but I don't anymore. So
really,
I have to sit that one out.
I should teach you.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Need a refresher.
It's really, really fun.
There's another really big mechanic that I think you've gotten this far where you get a house.
Yeah.
And you can do
like Animal Crossing.
All these kind of side things to get money where you are like farming and cooking and selling off the stuff that you cook and selling off but you can like upgrade the house. You can get all these different decorations. You can plant your crops however you want. It's like a grid and you can lay them out. That's a cool, again, I was like, do I need to pay much attention to this or is this going to suck? But it's kind of neat.
It is. It's like all of these different ways for you to, I don't know, for you to like interact with the environment, I guess. Right. Because like in the last Yakuza game, the thing that they made you do was that stock market thing. Yes. So it's kind of like that, but you're like kind of like the same idea.
Stock market, I don't know how much I really liked that. Like it was a cool idea, but it was very complicated, I thought.
It clicked like after I played it for a little while. Yeah. This is a little bit easier. The house is a little bit easier for you to like, understand. Yeah. But it's the same idea where like this side thing just like makes you money, basically. Yeah. It's great.
You know, we've talked about this a lot already, but like the way the game can balance serious and goofy stuff is like really unparalleled.
Some of the lines, I won't repeat them here because it's not really like safe for work. You guys should just go and watch some of the videos.
But like there's one scene like where you're in the bathhouse and like this you have this showdown with this guy in the bathhouse.
But you're both like naked.
You're both naked and you're fighting, but you have these little like steam clouds
smoke around your private area,
swimsuit area. It's like but it's done like it's like it's trying to be serious, but it's also like really hilarious. And then there's also just like slapsticky things that will happen.
Really slapsticky things.
Where like there's no other game that juggles these two things in a way that's actually competent.
Yeah, exactly. And like the main character is like real goofy, you know, but like you can tell like this is like a heart of gold character. Right. So you know, it's not a serious quest to like find the killer or whatever, but he also has like these like, you know, romantic blunders and like this like funny stuff that happens. You know, he meets like a priest and then they have like a funny interaction or, you know, he helps an old lady cross the street. Like the little funny things and like endearing things as well. So it's like, it's really nice that they introduce this character as someone so relatable. Even though like he's like supposed to be like a hardened, you know, samurai or like a gang member or whatever, you know, like it definitely feels like it's relatable to you.
Does this game have the hottest characters you've seen in a while?
Absolutely, yes.
You've been hinting at this.
He's really hot.
I agree.
And his body is...
With or without a steam cloud. But there's more than just him, right?
There's so many.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. The guy with the glasses is pretty hot, too. That guy is hot. And then there's another couple, like, main characters that are... There's the like, sort of the bad main character. Yeah. He's not bad looking either. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All of them have, like, six-packs, and they're, like, jacked. So, every single character. Yeah. Even, like, the old guys. They take their shirt off, and they're, like, jacked underneath. You're like, what?
Whoa.
You're 80. Like, what's going on?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No. I think I'm maybe 2/3 through this.
I think you're a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm pretty close. Yeah. I'm, like, chapter 6, 7?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We'll be checking in on this game then. You said you've also been on the side playing more Metroid Prime.
I know. I have been wanting to get back to Metroid. We streamed Metroid, which was super, super fun. And then, of course, I started my own, like, replay of that game. And I actually spent some time over the weekend just, like, digging into it more because I hadn't gone back to it since we did our stream. And, God, that game is just so good. And, like, I was thinking... When I first played this game, I remember getting lost a lot more than I am. I'm doing pretty good now. I haven't really gotten super stuck. But I remember when I first played this game, I was like perpetually lost. And I was like, is it because I just like have played more Metroid games recently and now I like kind of know how this whole thing works or what? But somehow it's feeling like very intuitive. I mean, the game obviously looks really, really beautiful. And... Yeah, I'm having a ton of fun just like replaying. I don't remember a thing about this game, so it just feels like a new game now. I'm having a great time.
Cool. I have not kept up with this because I've been doing Like a Dragon and some other things, but I would like to come back to it. Because one of the other things I've been doing is this retro games.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Like Xanadu?
So I've had all sorts of twists and turns with this. So remember I got the Retron 2 HD.
Yes.
The system I got actually broke on me.
You had a very unfortunate...
had a sad thing happen where my system just... I think something just went...
something blown out.
I think, yeah, because I was playing a game and then the picture just like went out and I couldn't get anything else to... I mean, the power light would go on, but nothing else would play.
Oh, no.
So, that's
very
a bummer.
sad, because you had just gotten it, too.
I know.
So it was unfortunate.
But I bought it on Amazon, and Amazon returns are super easy and lenient, so I actually got a new system within a day.
Yeah.
And could just return the other one. So I don't know how widespread issues like that are, so I don't want to make too big a deal about it.
But the one that you have now works perfectly fine, and you've been playing all your games. Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of games, but two I'll talk about. Xanadu. Famicom Xanadu, finally.
Finally!
Yes. This game is excellent. This is a game that, again, I had seen in Nintendo Power, thought about, but never played, never knew anybody who had it, never really saw in action.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, well, I got this thing. Let's get this game. Unfortunately, this is not an old game that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This cost me like $15 on eBay.
Not bad, right?
Which is great.
That's a good price.
Yeah, and this game is, I'd say the closest thing to it is Zelda 2, where it's like a side-scrolling, like, action RPG.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's got a lot of depth to it for a game of this age, where like you're getting different weapons, you can get magic, you can level up, you can get items. All of the fighting is action based.
Right.
And it's like, 2D sword based stuff or casting magic.
Yeah.
So far it's not like crazy hard like some of those old NES games can be.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. The game has a pretty lenient save system where just like whenever you get into a town, you can just save.
Oh, that's good. So you don't lose everything if you
and it's not like that long to
Yeah.
get from one town to the other. So I'm sure I'll eventually reach a point where I just
can't go on.
Can't get any further.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's what happens with these old games. But it's been really fun. And, I actually have the old Nintendo Power like open next to me as I'm going. It's like, because I'm getting the tips. I need some tips.
You're reverting back to like a,
what? I need some
9-year-old, which is kind of cute. But
so that's great. So yeah, Xanadu.
There you go. Finally.
Check it out. I mean, I would recommend this to anybody who like if you ever had a game like in your youth that you like thought about but never actually had or played. It's like get it.
It's not
you can get it.
Yeah, it's not that impossible,
right.
And it's like actually pretty easy to get these now.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Like this has been a fun experience. The other one is a game that I already had.
This is a great game.
That I went back to is Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those great Capcom Disney games.
This game so much. Yeah. Such a good one.
Disney is not my jam. Mickey Mouse is definitely not my jam.
I know, but this game is good.
This game is super good. Basically, it's like a 2D platformer, but as Mickey, you can get these like costumes, which will give you different powers.
Yeah.
Like you can get like a fireman's outfit and like spray water, or you can be a magician and shoot little like fireball things. It's just really well done, and like the visuals and the music are very like what's Fantasia? Is that the?
Yes, that's around the time when Fantasia came out.
It feels in that style where it's like classical music and really like detailed backgrounds and graphics.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember playing this game as a child. I think like I rented this game. It must be one of the ones I rented.
It's a very short game. Like you can finish it in about an hour.
Yeah. And I remember playing with a lot of my friends at like a sleepover. I have fond memories of Magic Quest.
And then there's a big question mark here.
Why'd you have a surprise?
I might have a surprise for you.
What'd you play?
Well, I have.
What'd you play?
Oh, I have something for you.
Little Mermaid! Oh my god!
Yes, I got you Little Mermaid for the NES. I have this list.
I'm so excited, but I don't have a Retron.
Working my way through of these old games, and I just happened to pick you up Little Mermaid along the way.
It's my favorite game of all time. I played it until it broke.
What are you doing with this now? Oh, you're going to put it there. You played it until it broke?
It literally broke my NES and the game.
What in the world?
Yeah, like I played so many times. I think I played that game like...
throw it out the window?
400 times or something like that until like it broke my NES and the game also broke.
Yikes. I looked at some video. That game looks fun.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The coolest part is when you have the bubble and you're swimming around with Ariel in the bubble and Flounder's there. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So
I think we should do something with you in this game.
Yay!
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Bring the Retron. Let me play it.
It's not called a Retron.
Retron.
Retron. Come on. So yes, I continue to be smitten with retro games. Might have more on that later. But our last game is Blanc.
Oh yes,
which
Blanc.
we did a video on. We streamed the first. I think we've streamed like half the game. It's only a couple hour game. How would you describe what this game is?
This game is a co-op game done all in a black and white art style. It's kind of like a puzzle co-op game.
Yeah.
But it has like a very like slow pace. You know, it kind of feels
cozy.
Almost like, yeah, it's very cozy. It has sort of like a Breath of the Wild sort of, you're in nature. You're kind of like in this like desolate nature, you know, in the woods. Mm-hmm. And it has like kind of very similar music where it's just very like environmental.
Yeah.
We streamed this game and it was really fun because we can play online co-op together.
Which is a feature I wouldn't expect a game like this to have.
And thank God it does.
And it worked great.
I think more games should have this. That's my takeaway. More games
I think this
online
is
co-op.
I think this is a very small indie team, so you know they're trying to do the most with what they got, and good for them for fitting this in.
Really cool that they were able to do that because I mean I love to play more online co-op games with my friends, and we unfortunately got a little bit stuck doing a duck puzzle, but it was really funny because at the end of our stream, like when we weren't even trying, it like finished, the puzzle finished.
Yeah. We were having a really great time with this game until we got to this one puzzle where you have to create like a windshield for these little ducklings.
Really hard time. I think it's my fault.
I think it was your fault, honestly.
Oh no.
But I think
it was like one puzzle too many of that.
Of the same kind of thing.
We had been helping these ducks for like an hour.
It was like the 5th wind puzzle with these ducklings, and this one was like the most complicated.
Yeah, there was like bushes and bridges.
But before that, like the game was very, very fun.
Yeah.
And the game looks great.
It's really beautiful.
It's all black and white.
Yes.
It looks like the Take On Me music video, which is the only comparison I have for it.
It's a good music video.
It's like, you know, pencil sketch, but it's got like a lot of movement to it.
A lot of texture.
The game had great vistas, so I appreciated that.
Right. You play as a cute little fawn and a cute little wolf cub.
Right.
Yeah, and you each have your own like skills.
Some characters can do something that the others can't.
Yes.
They sent us a box.
They did.
Which we're going to open.
We'll describe it to the audio listeners, but we got a beautiful box. This box is so pretty.
Look at this. This is nice. So Blanc on the side with the logo.
Mm-hmm. And here's your characters, your deer and wolf cub.
So let's open it up here. I think some things got a little jostled along the way, but let's see what we have here. I think there's a little note up here. What does this say? Yes. Okay, this is just, nice to know you kind of thing. What is this?
Cute little pin.
Oh, a pin. That's cute.
Very nice.
You're going to enjoy this.
Is it socks?
Blanc socks.
Oh,
Is this one pair or two pair?
One pair of socks.
All right, you can have those.
It's very cozy and warm.
These look thick.
They're very thick, yes, for the winter.
The dev team, I understand, is in or around Montreal, so I think they're
experiencing
equipped for cold
winter.
weather.
Yes.
Right. And then there's one other thing here, which is this, which I thought this was like a mug size, but it's something soft as well.
Is it like a plushie or something?
What is it? Oh, what is it?
Oh.
What is that?
This is actually really interesting. I think it's a snow
globe.
Oh,
a snow globe. That's cute.
Here, hold this.
All right.
Oh, I love a snow globe.
Love a snow globe.
Oh, it could be also a Christmas ornament.
Oh, wow, this is very detailed.
Okay, we're shaking it, and there's like little flakes inside. But it's carved in wood.
And you can see there's a little wolf and a little...
This is really cute. We'll put this on our Christmas tree.
Does this stand on its own if you...
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Wow, that's cute.
Very cute.
Thanks, Blanc folks.
Yeah, thank you. This is so adorable. I love it. But yes, everyone should go check out the game. It's on a Nintendo Switch. Which is what we were playing it on. And it's a really fun.
I filed this away in my memory banks for Cozy Game of the Year.
Yes.
Because clearly you need some help with the Cozy Game nominations because you chose Stray last year, which is a game where you get your face eaten off by aliens.
I think that we should finish Blanc.
Okay.
We only have a little...
I did turn it on after that because I was like, I just want to see what it's like to play that single player. Have you played any single player?
No, I haven't played since I played.
So you control both of the characters.
Right.
With two sides of the controller.
Right.
So that you can still do everything, but it is a bit more taxing because of like I need to control two characters at once. So it's cool that they're not changing the style of gameplay.
Yeah.
But I definitely preferred playing it.
Yeah.
2-player.
I think obviously it's nice that they give you the option, but I thought it was really fun. And again, not a lot of co-op online co-op games these days. So kind of a rare one and a really good one too.
Yeah. Before we go any further, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Yay, BetterHelp.
Sometimes in life you just get bogged down with challenges, whether they're at work, in your life, whatever it may be. A BetterHelp therapist can help you work through all those things.
Yeah, it's easy to get overwhelmed, I think, in our daily lives. We certainly experience it, and it's been great to have a BetterHelp therapist kind of help us through some of these moments when you feel a little bit overwhelmed, and it's really easy. You can sign up by filling out a short quiz, and it matches you with a licensed therapist, and you can, start to have a conversation with them really fast in all sorts of different ways, whether it's like phone or video call or text. So it's been great. I've been enjoying BetterHelp therapist.
It's a very easy way into the world of therapy. I'll be honest, if I was to look to do that another way, I'm not sure where I would begin.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This really walks you through the process and gets you set up with a person who's there to talk and to help.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/KitandKrysta today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KitandKrysta.
We'll put the link right here and also in the description below.
Yeah.
All right, we have a very
meaty
news section because a lot of stuff happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
Things happened.
Yeah.
Things happened.
So let's talk about this Zelda leak. And again, we will not be getting into spoilers for this at all. You have not seen this stuff.
I have not seen it.
I did look. I'll admit it. I was curious. But I won't talk about it.
Don't talk to me about it later.
I won't. Why? Jeez. Come on.
I want to know.
It's been nice to see a lot of outlets saying we're not going to get into spoiler territory for this.
I think so too.
For some games, like they're not. They'll just cover it.
Yeah.
But it seems like there was sort of a collective understanding of like this could be going too far for a lot of people.
I appreciated that a lot of people were like, they covered it almost like, hey, warning, spoilers are out there.
Right.
If you want to avoid them, like try muting these words or try doing these things. So that was nice.
Right. So but basically what happened was the art book that's included with the limited edition leaked.
Right.
Basically in its entirety.
Right.
So there's a lot of images of things that had not been shared before. They're just out there.
Right.
I went through the process of if I was in the position of some poor soul, like I had been years ago, if I was in charge of Zelda marketing, what would my Sunday have been like?
That would have been a bad day for you.
Yeah.
And followed by a very bad week.
So what you got to do is you got to get ahead of this.
Right.
You need to start being proactive and start notifying people of what has happened, how we think this happened,
right,
and eventually how we're going to prevent it from happening
in the future. Yeah. Followed by a lot of apologies.
Right. I don't think it's clear what people are like. The art book I heard is in Japanese. Mm-hmm. Which maybe makes things a little bit different.
Leak
but
out of the Japanese
either way,
market.
Because immediately I thought, okay, I think this happened around like 10 or 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
I was like, well, Japan's asleep.
Yeah.
So if I'm the person, I need to have these consecutive conversations
before they wake up,
culminating with my email to Japan before my 4 o'clock, which is when they get into the office.
Yeah.
The teams in Japan, unlike us workaholic maniacs,
they don't work on the weekends.
They are not like checking their a lot of them don't get email on their phone.
Right. It's like not as like how we have email on our phone all the time all weekend long.
So they do. I mean, they were legit like asleep. when this happened. But yes, that was my thing. Is like, I would need to get this email to Japan by the time they get into the office.
And then you would have to have lots of conversations with everybody at NOA before that email goes to Japan. So you would have to understand.
Which is hard on a weekend. So you think like, oh, well, these people, I can just track them down. Like sometimes they're not around.
They're not around.
It's like, yes, we all have different lives. We're all doing different things. It's the weekend. We're not as available
and also,
as you might think.
If it was like, let's say a printer leak or something like that, which is probably what happened here.
Yeah.
Like you would have to track down the person that's in charge of doing that. That's probably not on the same team as you.
Exactly.
And doing that again on a Sunday, and then like having them
notify legal, because there are probably things that the legal team wants to do to look into this.
The leaks team will need
this
to be notified.
This is absolutely.
And it would be notified all the way up to Doug. Like the president. Like you would have to
Doug would be on like my first like quick like, hey, this happened, we're investigating.
Yeah, and also like our old VP, obviously the head of sales
There's
marketing.
A lot of people who are getting roped into this.
Yeah, head of localization would be on that list. Yeah, it would be a bad day for everybody.
Right. We put out some short videos about this of. This is a reality of what happens when you have this very meandery rollout of information. Yeah. Where the longer you wait to get something big out there, the higher the chance of something that this can happen. And I did think of, some of the conversations I had with the dev team. Mm-hmm. I hesitate to call them battles because they were very good intentioned on both sides. Right. But I did have to twist their arms at times to get them to reveal information. Yeah. And I think they maybe don't understand, as developers, all the different ways things can leak, the timelines when things become a major leak risk. Yeah. So it is dangerous to just say, hey, developer, you figure this out 100%.
Right. Or we're just going to listen to you 100% without giving you any sort of guidance or feedback from a marketing or from like a region perspective.
And I'm not saying that's what happened here. I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know they have a very huge voice in deciding
and
all this stuff.
I do think, as we were leaving Nintendo, it was very much the sort of the way that Nintendo of America was working. It very much was sort of subordinate to Japan. And things that Japan were wanting the U.S. market to do, we were doing it. We weren't really fighting a lot of those battles, and the Japanese parent company's voice was pretty loud. So yeah, I think those developers are very well intentioned. They're certainly looking at it from a perspective of like, we want to preserve the surprise, preserve these experiences for the player at all costs. But what they don't realize, I think, is these things are sort of outside of their control. Right. And when you don't have it in your control, then the information gets out in a way that is not intentioned by you. So it's even more devastating, I think, for them. So it's really unfortunate.
And one of the big moments where the leak risk elevates is when information starts to get out of the company. Right. Because you can have a super tight group within the company who knows, like, this is really important, don't leak it, and be careful with it. But once it gets out, it's like, yeah, they're your partners, they're these, companies that you work with, but it's getting into a lot of different hands, and not everybody has the same, motivations or points of view on this thing, and it's dangerous.
Yeah. We would look at the timelines for when things are going to retail as a significant risk period. Right. And when we were working at Nintendo, it was always like, let's announce something before things go to retail, because that is when it starts to escalate to a lot of people outside the company. And like, when you're at the printer, like there's a lot of people that can come into contact with something like that you might not know.
And there's a physical item that you could just grab and
take pictures
take
of?
with you, or take pictures of.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like, when we used to have like, this game, the box art will be going to the printer. Like you'll see all the screenshots on the back. Like that's you have to get out in front of that kind of stuff. So I've heard more stuff as this story has been out over the weekend, like more of that kind of question of like, is this intentional? I can assure you that this is not intentional. This is not like a marketing ploy. Nintendo does not do that. So this is definitely a leak, and not something to get people talking about Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Does this change any of Nintendo's plans going forward? Like, would they push up something now that they're worried about leaks? I know the answer, but I'm asking you as a rhetorical question.
I mean, I don't think so.
Right. It doesn't change anything.
It does not change anything, honestly. I think...
What they will do is clamp down on the people who are working on it, make it harder for them to do their jobs. Make it even harder
for them to do their jobs.
It's like, well, we had one leak that came from, outside the company, but who cares? We're clamping down on the whole deal.
Yeah. So I've heard, again, this is sort of related, unrelated, but there was like all this chatter about like, will people get like previews of this? I don't think anyone's getting previews of anything, because they're definitely going to be clamping down as hard as they can to prevent anything else from coming out before they're ready to reveal closer to launch. So yeah, it's gonna be a kind of an information drought, I think.
So exactly my prediction.
Exactly what we've been in. Yeah. Unless they do the title direct, hopefully that does happen and we get to see that in April or something. But yeah, I mean it's kind of it becomes even more unfortunate for a game that we really don't know very much about in the first place. So, yeah.
Yeah. We will continue to keep an eye on that. There was also a trailer for a Tetris TV show.
Yes.
That's coming out on Apple TV at the end of March.
Now, you told me to watch the trailer, and I did, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
You thought it was terrible.
No, maybe terrible is the wrong word for it.
Oh, we're backtracking.
I thought it was
over the top,
highly, highly sensationalized.
Well, yeah, because it's a TV show. Didn't say it was a documentary.
I think there's a more like dramatic way to do it versus like this guy got punched out in a Moscow gulag kind of thing.
I think it looks great.
So you're definitely going to watch this.
Oh,
so basically,
100%.
We should say, like, this is the story of how Tetris came to be and how Nintendo got the rights to it. It's very interesting. Obviously, it was originally made in Russia, which was back then the USSR.
Yes.
Getting stuff out of the USSR was notoriously difficult. There was this one guy, Hank Rogers, who was kind of in charge of brokering all of that.
That deal, yeah.
A lot of people have said this. I would absolutely agree. The Gaming Historian has a
amazing.
SSS God tier documentary on this whole thing, which everybody should watch.
If you want to watch a non-sensationalized version of the true story.
Maybe that's why I had such a weird reaction, because I was like...
That didn't happen.
I was like, he didn't get punched out at the nightclub.
TV people. But yes, a real documentary with the facts.
Yes.
You can watch the Gaming Historian's documentary on this. But if you want to be entertained, I think this will be a very entertaining TV series on Apple TV.
It did have perhaps the first dramatization of
Mr. Yamauchi?
Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Yeah. That was awesome. I was like, oh, that's a good
Again,
good cast.
I thought that was a little cringy, but okay.
I loved it.
Good together. Like, come on.
He's like in his like office.
We don't need this.
I can corroborate that I have been up in
as one of the few people in the world who have been up to the president's floor at the Nintendo office. You can watch this meticulously.
And I will be like, wait a second, that painting was to the left.
You can rate their depiction of it.
I can.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. So I don't have Apple TV is my thing.
Oh, you should
I could probably get a free trial to watch this. Maybe I will watch this. I don't know.
Actually love Apple TV. They have some really good shows. And I'm excited about this show. I think it's going to be really good. They always have like very high quality production stuff.
Is Apple TV a sponsor?
No.
Then zip it.
I wish they would sponsor us.
We'll say all sorts of great things.
I think it's good. I really like it. I enjoy my Apple TV. I enjoy the shows on Apple TV.
Yeah. All right. The next and last story we have here is just written as more Activision Blizzard problems.
Oh, no.
So there was a lot that came out. I guess this is specific to Blizzard from this town hall. Those town halls are real landmines. They had a town hall meeting where...
we used to have those at Nintendo as well, and there were always landmines.
They covered some really dicey topics, which included... the return to office plan.
Yes.
For Blizzard employees, always fun. The fact that they would get lower percentages of profit-sharing bonuses. And also this use, I guess they do like stack ranking for sort of their employee evaluations. So really loaded with a lot of crowd pleasers.
So like it makes my skin crawl just to think about it. Like it's just awful.
So
awful corporate American nonsense.
We know that yes, these are difficult topics to discuss. These are not going to be topics that are going to make people happy, but often these are approached in the most tone-deaf ways possible. So you don't do yourself any favors by the way you talk about it.
I think it's important for companies to have these discussions with their employees, but why is it that every company like sort of steps into this blunder of like having some, executive that has no idea what people are actually going through in their daily lives working at this company deliver these messages in very insensitive ways that like actually like just make you defensive immediately about these topics. Like if they know it's going to be sensitive, why is there not some sort of discussion about a better way to approach it, I guess?
I think they're so like the topics are so sensitive that they only feel comfortable planning for these town halls at the highest level, who are the people who are
so they echo chamber
the
themselves.
Most out of touch.
Yeah.
And they talk themselves into like, oh yeah, people will love this or people will understand this, when in reality they totally don't.
They totally
and they totally whiffed on what people are actually thinking and feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the Blizzard employees took to sharing their, personal thoughts about all of this, and it was very much reflective of like some of the stuff that we were feeling when we were in similar situations before, and it's like, yeah, I guess it's a little bit comforting to know that all companies suck, but still, like, why? I don't understand like why we can't figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of this stuff that you think they could have seen it coming, like. The combination of, yes, you need to go back into the office with also you're getting a lower bonus, where it's like, well, you're going to have to spend more to get into the office, and you're actually going to be making less. Awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, maybe talk about these at different times.
Or like do a better rollout.
Is there anything else that can offset these expenditures that people are going to have to make?
Maybe the company can do something to help you.
Or I guess you can just not care. And just plow ahead.
Just not care, I guess.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so many people came out and were just like, the leadership's off its rocker, and it's
this evaluation stuff
wild
also sounds
to work at Activision Blizzard right now.
Oh God, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole like the way that they evaluate their performance also sounds like really harsh. Like it just kind of like backs you into a corner. Like if you are not going to do exactly what they tell you to do, then like basically you're going to get like a terrible review, and you're not going to get your your merit increases or your bonuses at all, like even if it's lower. And it's just, doesn't it feel like you're just totally like backed against the wall? Like what are you supposed to do besides quitting your job, you know?
Yeah. There was also a line from their president that came out that was basically like, hey, do you think us executives are getting rich? You got the wrong idea if that's what you think. It's like, yeah, I think that's what people do think, and I think they're probably right.
Yeah. Disclose your salaries.
Yeah.
You should if you have that perception that you're not a rich executive, then disclose your salary.
I guess the reasoning for that argument is they are also taking smaller bonuses as a result of this.
But they start out with a much higher bonus.
And I'm sure there's all sorts of other little perks and other things that add up for them along the way.
For sure.
So that's, again, it's like, do you think people are going to believe literally anything that you say or put out there?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. There's one other news thing that came out this morning that I forgot to put on here. Did you see that Nintendo has confirmed a booth at PAX East?
I did see that. There was not really... Did they have any information about what they're doing?
No, they had no information about what they're doing. A lot of people were like, is Tears of the Kingdom going to be playable?
It's not.
And I just want to shut that down. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to bring up. Don't get your hopes up, people. You know what I think they're going to have playable?
Kirby.
Yes. Also...
What else?
Splatoon. They're going to do like a tournament.
They're going to do a tournament. They're going to have Kirby. What's the other kind of newish release around that time?
Advance Wars.
Bayonetta, Origins, Advance Wars. They'll have that stuff. Yeah. Now, this is not the Animal Crossing 2020.
Everybody was like, it's going to be the Tears of the Kingdom booth. I'm like, you guys.
It's really not.
I'm here to manage your expectations,
It's really
people. Don't, we're not that bad.
We are not going to PAX East, we should say.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Because there's not going to be a Tears of the Kingdom booth.
It's a very long trip for us to make, and gotta be honest, it's freezing.
I don't do well in the
It's so cold there.
This California girl does not do well in the cold.
Yeah. We like that show a lot, but like, for us to make a big trip like that, there needs to be like a clear, tangible reason.
Right.
And in this case, it's like, hard to nail that one down.
Hard to nail that one down. And we got Universal in
we have other things that we want to do around that time frame.
We're probably going to be busy with that, and then we'll see what happens. But we do love PAX, and it's nice to see that Nintendo is going back to shows. That's good.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's going to be a Tears of the Kingdom booth, guys. All right.
Patreon Q&A. We get all of our questions from Patreon subscribers, and we do also a bonus Q&A every week that is exclusive to Patreon, so you can check that out if you'd like. Our first question is from Big N Gamer with a Y. What do people at NOA call the big boss? Capital B, big, capital B boss. Just, quote, the boss, quote, Reggie Doug, or Mr. Fils-Aimé / Mr. Bowser.
Oh.
How formal does it get?
Oh, yeah.
Sir?
King of the Koopas.
My lord?
We called Bowser King of the Koopas every time we addressed him. No, just kidding. Very informal at Nintendo of America. Everybody was on a first name basis. So Reggie was Reggie and Doug was Doug.
Unless there is somebody who came over from Japan.
I was going to say, unless.
Yes.
Japan was a different thing. Like, it was very formal.
Yes.
It was always Mr.
Mr. Ms.
Mr. Miss.
Whatever,
or you can say, like, Aonuma-san or Miyamoto-san.
Yeah.
But we usually called them in English, and we would say, like, Mr. Aonuma or whoever. Yeah, so. There
were a very, very small number of people who they would tell you, like, Call me my first name.
Yeah, that were from the Japan office. I always felt weird about it. I was like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, very small number.
But they would call us by our first names.
Yeah. Again, this is how I got to be Kito-san.
Yeah, Kito-san or Krysta-san. So yeah, that was kind of that relationship. Yeah. But Reggie and Doug were just Reggie.
Yeah. But even when Reggie and Doug would talk to Japan folks, it was the same way.
Yeah, and they would just call them Reggie and Doug.
Right.
So, yeah, really interesting.
Frulio has the next question. Did Nintendo have a culture committee to improve employee satisfaction and retention? If not, what things did you do to boost morale among your team?
Party planning committee at the office?
Well, they did.
We did have a culture club.
Not 100% success rate, I'll say.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the culture club, especially in the office that we were in, they were very hampered by limitations that were kind of out of their control. You know, being a satellite office, it was hard for them to get the same resources, I think, as the corporate headquarters. Like, we wouldn't have a big budget to do events or to do team building stuff like they did in the Redmond offices. So it was sort of not their fault that it was difficult for them, but I think it wasn't very effective.
Well, every now and then they would do something that was like cool and everybody liked. Like one of the last events we went to, we went to a Golden State Warriors basketball game.
Yeah,
and got
at Chase Stadium.
Got like a luxury box, and it was like, okay, this is cool. Like, and a ton of people went to that and had a great time.
Yeah.
But then you contrast it to like the holiday parties, which we will talk about.
We had to wait till
in the
next
future.
holiday.
We need to wait for the holidays, but like truly like subpar and embarrassing for a company of Nintendo stature.
Right, and it just was not well planned.
Yeah. So very, very hit or miss.
Yeah, very hit or miss.
Yeah.
I was part of the culture club for like a couple of months.
Oh, I didn't know that. When was this?
Early days when I first, because I was the first person that joined in that first wave of that office. So I was like, I had like this historical obligation to help with some of the people that were new coming in. But it just was kind of impossible. Like, you didn't have any money. You didn't have very many resources. You were so busy with your normal job that you didn't have very much time to dedicate to this. So it was pretty much like a setup to fail kind of situation.
Yeah. Next question is from Medallion2889. Actually, we were wondering, is it Medallion or Medallion?
Yes, tell us.
Because of the spelling here. I think, please, the pronunciation guides are always helpful. And Medallion starts, this always makes me want to answer a question. It starts, I don't mind if you don't want to include this in a video because it may be sensitive and private. Well, guess what? We're answering it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. For every Nintendo employee who appeared on camera, did you all know each other and were friendly/friends? Perhaps some of them have left Nintendo, perhaps not under the best of circumstances. Do you guys ever hear about them or stay in touch, sharing war stories of your times there? Well, we certainly knew. I mean, it's a pretty small company, so...
Yeah, pretty small company. We pretty much knew, like, majority of people there.
Yeah.
The folks that were on camera, so those would include, like, the Treehouse Live people, I think. Anyone that appeared in a Nintendo Direct, I guess. Mm-hmm. Those are the internal people that would appear on camera. Of course, Nintendo also hired out for, like, commercials or... Those people we didn't know because they were, like, actors, basically.
Right.
But for the people that were on camera doing, like, Treehouse Live, yeah, we were very friendly with a lot of them. A lot of them are still at Nintendo. Some of them have left Nintendo. Some of them we've had on episodes of Nintendo Minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very friendly. But, you know, those people had other jobs. Like, they were not just there to be on camera, just like how we were not just there to be on camera. So we'd also work with them in other capacities as well. Like, a lot of them are from the Treehouse.
They were also in a different office, which I think, you know, in some cases limited how chummy we could get with some of them. Mm-hmm. But there are some people in Redmond who we became, like, really good, legit friends with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sort of varies, but I wouldn't, there's certainly no, like, bad blood or anything like that.
Oh, bad blood.
If that's what you're getting at.
No bad blood. Yeah. And yes, we definitely shared war stories and and stay in touch and all that stuff.
Yeah. Motemania is next. Hi, Kit and Krysta. As of today, 9 days before release, well, time's passed. It looks like Metroid Prime Remastered's physical pre-orders are sold out online for major retailers. Based on your experience, what kinds of talks and meetings do you think NOA is having? Would this be in line with sales expectations, or would there be genuine surprise and excitement at the fan response? How quickly can Nintendo print another run of cartridges to meet the demand? So this is very reminiscent to Fire Emblem Awakening, where it was like a surprise hit. Like, whoa, we're sold out.
We didn't see that coming. Yeah.
So the whole release being delayed, it must have been because of the shadow drop.
I think so.
And again, you don't want to send something to the retailer.
And then someone takes a photo of it, and then you just ruin your shadow.
So once the game, I'm sure they had the games ready to go, it's announced, then you ship it out and get it ready.
Correct.
So I'm sure that's why they did that. The limited quantities are a bit mystifying to me. Mm-hmm.
I feel like Nintendo always, like... Why are you making that face?
I don't know. I'm mystified.
I think Nintendo always plays it safe when it comes to, like... This is not really a special edition.
It's just a game.
But I think in their minds, it kind of counts as a special edition in some way. I don't know why. I wouldn't think that this should count as that. But they're very limited in the way that they, like, make special editions or, like, you know, have availability on those. So I wonder if they kind of got into their heads, like, they should treat this kind of like that because of the shadow drop.
I think there's definitely people there who would understand that Metroid Prime would be a big game. Maybe they thought everybody's just going to jump on the shadow drop,
that's what I'm thinking,
so we don't need to make that many. But they should also know there's people who are physical only, or for games like this, want physical.
Yeah, they want to be a collector and have this. So
I can understand the frustration. It doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah, but that's, I think in their head, they're like, no one's going to want the physical because they're going to buy the shadow drop, so we should treat the physical version like a special edition. That's my...
Major 4D chess overthinking of things, but...
That's so them.
Yeah. Next question is from Quiero Dormir. Do you know what that means? That's Spanish for I want to sleep.
Oh, I love it.
Hey, Kit and Krysta, what is your dream implementation of Nintendo's legacy content? More Nintendo Switch Online games and consoles, classic consoles like NES Classic, or something completely different? Thanks for reading or considering this question. I'm a big fan of your content. All the best.
Oh, thank you. I just want to have them all available to me at the same time in one place.
Exactly.
I just don't trickle it out. Don't give me the tiny little thing that I need to I mean, I was at Nintendo when NES Mini and SNES Mini released, so I didn't have a problem buying those things, but I understand the frustration of people that couldn't get that, and if that's the only way to play these legacy games, that would suck, you know? So I just give it to me easily accessible on the current gen hardware all at once.
Also, continuity from generation to generation. There are some games that are on the 3DS Virtual Console that are not on the Switch NSO. That kind of thing drives me crazy.
Yeah, why not?
So I would say, let's take Switch now. Whatever you end up with on these services,
just carry
on
that
day
over.
one, need to be on the next system.
That's right.
Every single thing. And then you keep adding to that. One other thing I would say is be a bit more aggressive in pursuing some of these big third-party games. Because obviously, first-party game, it's we want to put it out, so we will. Like the games like the old Final Fantasies, it's they want to sell those to you. So
buy it.
So they want those to be part of Pixel Remaster. So it's fine. They don't want it to be on NSO. Well, what if Nintendo just wrote them a check and said, hey, here's a ton of money. I want these on our service.
Yeah, that would be great. People would pay for it. So.
Yeah, because this is a big selling point for NSO, and I think it sucks when people are like, oh, well, this was on the Wii Virtual Console, or this was on the SNES Mini, but you don't have it on this now?
Right.
What's the deal?
And don't make us buy it again. The next console, I don't want to buy it again.
Yeah. But
just carry my account over, my whole account.
For me, the day one continuity is the big one. If they trickle that stuff out that has already been available again, I'm gonna snap a pencil. You dog. That is not a fun experience for. It's not exciting. That's not exciting for anybody. It's just annoying.
It's just annoying.
If you've got it, get it out there.
And it feels like you're
because you need a library. It's not like you're announcing a new game, a brand new game for Switch, because you just developed it and you made it. These games exist. You have them. Put them out.
Yeah, just put them out, especially if they were available already one time before.
Yeah. Jeez. Silver6477's next. Hey, Kit and Krysta, for major public or press events like E3, PAX, etc., where Nintendo has demos on the show floor, do they usually use specific retail kits for this, or are they dev units? I've gotten a close look at these at E3 before, and they seem to be variations of the retail Switch with some intense security enhancements to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere.
Very intense. Yeah, it depends on the timing of when these shows happen. If a show is happening very close to when a game launches, there could be a demo off of the retail version that's being shown.
I mean, the preference would always be retail if it's available.
That's right.
Because that's very safe.
It's lower risk.
If that happens to get stolen, who cares?
I mean, still, you don't want to get stolen.
You don't want it to happen, but it's a lot better than, I lost this dev unit that has the work in progress game on it.
That would be so bad.
But Nintendo is extremely, extremely prepared for security situations.
Yes.
So
those things are locked up real tight in there.
Yeah, but for a show like a PAX, that's why they're going to be showing games that are out, because it's easy for them to do that.
Right.
Something like an E3 where the expectation is new games, they'll have dev kits, different types, and the hardware will, in most cases, look exactly the same.
Right.
They have versions of the hardware that look different or look the same depending on what you're doing with it. They got everything.
Yeah, they
got all sorts of variations.
They do a really good job of for shows like E3, they make specific E3 demos.
Yeah.
So let's say, and this has never happened, and I don't think ever will because the security is so top notch. Let's say one of the dev kits go missing. You wouldn't be able to get anything else except for the E3 demo that's on there. It's not like the whole game is on there and you're just we're letting you play 15 minutes of it. That's not the case.
Yeah.
They have a specific E3 demo that
they also have different front ends of a consumer might press the home button and go to a menu, and so you need the actual home menu versus going to some debug menu.
That's right.
You can't have that.
There is a debug menu in there, but it takes a couple more button presses to get there.
So they will understand the circumstances and build whatever they need to.
And the security there is so well done all the time. So.
Next question is from Riven. Have you ever seen Reggie, Mr. Miyamoto, Mr. Iwata, or any other public Nintendo figures angry? How about really genuinely excited? Very sad. What were they like? How did you feel seeing them experiencing these intense emotions?
Reggie was always very calm, I think, and very put together. I've seen him genuinely happy, I think, and when he like laughs that big Reggie.
Like at the end of an E3.
Yeah.
He's in celebration.
He's in celebration. Yeah. He'll be laughing and hanging out and very relaxed. So I've definitely seen Reggie like that. I've never seen him like angry to the point where he's like yell. He's never yelled.
No.
Ever.
I think he's been very stern. Being even-keeled is a good trait for these big executives, I think, because I don't know, like if your leader is like flying off the handle one way or another,
that's not good. Yeah,
that's not good. And that sends a weird message to the other employees. Like, do you really have this under control?
Yeah,
or,
like it's not.
I'm freaking out. You're freaking out.
Yeah, you're not. There's not a vote of confidence right now.
You need to have an air of confidence about you. Like, I got this. Don't worry.
I've seen him very stern. Like he's like, this needs to be done in this certain way, and here's why. Like, but it's then not, this is what we're gonna do.
But it's not this like over the top.
No,
finger wag.
Never.
Kind of
never.
Thing. No.
I don't want to talk about Mr. Iwata in the situation because I think we want to maybe tell that story a little bit later with more context. So we'll skip him. And Mr. Miyamoto,
he's just always smiling.
He's always. I was gonna say I've never seen him not with a big smile on his face.
Or even when he is saying something like really serious, he'll have that same like smile.
And you don't know what's going on. It's like, oh no. But I have heard stories about him and how he can get pretty strict.
Yes.
From other developers.
Yes.
So I think he does have like serious mode time when he's like looking at a game and it's not where he wants it to be or whatever.
Telling somebody that whatever they did sucks.
Yeah,
I think that version of Mr. Miyamoto definitely exists and there's a lot of stories about that.
I'm sure it's like, when you're like, at the office at 2:00 in the morning and you're reviewing a game for like the 90th time and it still sucks, you're probably going to be like not so happy.
Yeah.
But I've personally never seen that.
Yeah. Next question is a very interesting one, so strap in, from Cerulean Dragon. Hey, Kit and Krysta. First question. Back in the 90s, the nation was swept up in a satanic panic about various pieces of media, including games where certain individuals swore that they were demonic or satanic and would corrupt kids. For example, Pokemon being demons. Oh. When you were in school, did you have any exposure to this? Was anyone's mom or dad that crazy individual who thought games were evil? This was before my time, so curious if it touched your lives at all. Thanks.
I definitely remember hearing about this in school.
I heard about this. I can't say I ever saw it happen or knew anybody who felt this way.
Yeah.
What was the argument?
The argument was like video game. It's kind of the same argument that we have now, where it's like, oh, Call of Duty makes people shoot people.
But this thing,
but it's like of the devil.
Pokemon being demons. What's the story with that?
It's like these are
I don't get it.
These are like, like they're not like godly creatures. They're like demonic, like imaginary things. I don't know.
What?
That's what people thought.
I really don't understand.
And then like later on, this is like not in the 90s, but like we had a similar thing with Harry Potter. It's like these witches,
because
this
they're witches.
Witchcraft.
I can see that.
Some magical nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like that kind of stuff.
I have heard like the evolution part of Pokemon setting some people off.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Because if you don't believe evolution's real, you probably wouldn't like that.
Ah, interesting. Okay, I get that. I understand the argument there.
But
I don't know.
Maybe I should do a bit of...
My parents were never like this.
Yeah.
I definitely heard this at school. I had friends that had, games and we played games together and their parents were not like this either.
But you didn't know anybody.
I didn't know anybody, but I
this.
heard of this in school, like as like something that was like happening.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that like Pokemon is demonic or whatever? It was like almost like playground
so like a
gossip.
hidden message?
Like you're getting like a subliminal message backwards or something like that?
Red rum or something? Like maybe this is my next YouTube rabbit hole to go down. The Pokemon satanic
panic of the 90s.
Yeah.
But there was I think was that the same year that the movie The Craft came out?
I don't know.
And people got really obsessed with that.
Did people get mad about that?
That was like a movie about like a teenage witch. Like it's like a whole thing where that was like very popular and taboo at the same time in that time period in the night. The wild, wild west that we call the 90s. But again, that was
witches. These are Pokemon. These are cute little critters. Little varmints.
Demonic. I don't look at me.
I guess you did have ghost Pokemon.
Sure.
Are there some? There could be some like demon-ish.
Yeah, it's not a yokai.
Pokemon.
Good thing there wasn't yokai.
Some of those backstories for Pokemon can get pretty weird.
Like the one that ate his own mom and wore a skull.
But I don't know. You need to know it pretty in depth to be aware of that kind of thing.
I think it's mainly.
I don't think the people who are saying these things actually know much about it at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm strangely curious about this now.
Okay.
Next question is from Simon, and there is a little visual aid here. A press room release from Toyota reads, Toyota and Nintendo announced the ultimate road trip by providing 500 Grand Highlander customers with a Nintendo Switch OLED model system and a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game. How do these things or campaigns come to be? Is it simply a thing of reaching a wider audience? Pictured, Nintendo Switch Toyota Grand Highlander, seen this weekend at the Chicago Auto Show, and this is a car that has a Switch paint job and a Switch logo right on it.
It looks really ugly.
This looks terrible. This is not the cute Pikachu car from the 90s.
Those are cool. Not demonic.
Those were
very cute.
Iconic, yes.
They were like little Volkswagen Beetles, right? Yeah, those are really cute. This is like, okay, this auto stuff, like Japan, I feel like is real into the marketing partnership with automobile companies.
Like the Mercedes.
I hated that
Mario Kart thing.
The Mercedes Mario Kart thing where you could drive the Mercedes and Mario Kart, the really ugly Mercedes. I did not like that. So I guess this is maybe part of that.
But this sounds like a US thing. This is a US thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are teams at Nintendo who seek out these sorts of partnerships.
Yeah.
And it's always about, reaching a broader audience. Mm-hmm. So, this would be in line with reaching, families, kids. I don't know how much you're actually achieving that by doing this.
Yeah.
But
we also had, remember the NASCAR partnership, which was another like Mario Kart. They painted the hood of the NASCAR.
Oh.
And that was another one of these same teams, marketing partnerships that did like those kinds of promotions. And yeah, you just like, I guess you would just reach a non-gaming audience, as they would say.
I mean, maybe you're just tired of doing deals with Go-Gurt and Lunchables all day. You just need a break. There was a funny
Toyota Highlander break, apparently.
There was a stack of Nintendo branded Lunchables in the fridge one day that we needed for a photo shoot, and somebody ate them, all of them, and it was a real big issue.
It was a huge problem.
Yeah.
An all-company email was sent out about the Lunchables.
You ate my Lunchables.
There was a Post-it note on the Lunchable that said,
do not eat.
Do not eat.
Do not
social
touch.
Team promotion.
Again, the lunchroom is where all these bad things happen.
There was also one time when someone ate someone's raspberries. They ate their boss's raspberries by accident, and that person got in really big trouble. And then they lied about it, and then they found the wrapper or the box of the raspberries in the trash can.
No.
And the boss was like, "I knew you ate my raspberries." I'll tell you who.
I didn't know. Oh, you got.
I will tell you who it was afterwards.
Ideas,
this is really funny.
You gotta tell me this later.
This is a great story. This is anyways. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Tetrium is next. It seems that your guys' work at Nintendo overlapped with the existence of Nintendo Power. Were you guys involved at all with the magazine? What were the main differences between then and today and the dynamics around game announcements, teasers, and promotion? So when we were there, it had been outsourced. Before Nintendo Power was like, they were Nintendo employees making this magazine. And it got outsourced to Future, which is a big media entity. Right. So it was like, you're going to make the magazine on our behalf, but we're still very involved. So there was a person whose job was the liaison with Nintendo Power.
Right.
And they were
actually in our New York office.
Right. And they would help them with, whatever they needed and other business-oriented things. Like they were their entry point into the company.
Right.
So when we were working on PR campaigns, we would decide or talk about what would make sense for Nintendo Power to do or have access to. The funny thing is, you would think there would be a lot of interest in doing things with Nintendo Power.
Really
since it's the official Nintendo magazine for people who are into Nintendo.
Right.
It was the complete opposite.
It was the complete complete opposite. It was like pulling teeth, getting people to sign on to like any Nintendo Power marketing initiative, like PR initiative.
And the poor person would come to us and be like, the team would really like to do these handful of things, which all seemed very reasonable and normal and what you would give to your official magazine. And it was always like, no,
we don't want to.
We're going to give that to Game Informer, or I don't
think
think
an IGN
or
exclusive.
you guys don't need that. That was not us saying that. We should say that was other people.
That was not us.
Elsewhere.
It was really hard though. I really felt bad for this person.
I felt so bad for this person.
This person also had a bit of an early hand in Nintendo Minute, remember?
Yes, that's true.
I loved her.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she helped write one of the very early proposals.
Yeah.
For Nintendo Minute.
Exactly.
Which was very nice and wonderful.
Yeah.
But
I felt bad for her all the time.
I do have the final issue of Nintendo Power. I do have it. Yeah.
Yes,
and now,
you do.
former editor-in-chief of Nintendo Power, Chris Slade, is the host of the Nintendo Power podcast.
That's right. It's a good way for him to have that little historical connection.
Our former neighbor in the office. Mm-hmm. And all-around wonderful guy.
Nice guy.
Yes.
Really nice guy.
Last question is from Video Game Stupid. I remember a segment on Nintendo Minute where you would read viewer submissions involving a video game crime they committed, and you would either absolve them or give them a guilty verdict. Now is as good a time as any to try this. So my crime was over a decade ago when my friend went on a 2-year study in Brazil. He let me hold on to his copy of Pokemon Fire Red, which I'm sure had Mewtwo, some other legendaries, a couple of shinies, and maybe even Mew. I didn't think he was coming back since he liked Brazil so much, so I sold it to GameStop for what was most likely enough to buy a used 360 game, so not a lot. He eventually did come back after the 2 years and never mentioned his Fire Red, and we're still friends to this day.
You should confess to
I always make sure to buy him something for Christmas or his birthday, even when he insists that I don't need to. Absolved or guilty? Lay it on me.
Guilty! How could you? Just tell him, so you don't have to live. This is like that book, Crime and Punishment, where your guilt eats you alive, you know? Even if you're the one who should feel guilty. You've stolen from me, and I've asked for it back, and you won't do it. You never asked for it back. You gave it to me.
Give me back my Rhythm Heaven.
No, you gave it to me.
I didn't. I let you borrow it.
You can't ask for something back that you've given
This is becoming about you and me now. Give it back.
Absolved.
You can't absolve yourself.
Yes, I can.
What do you think? I'm the president and I'm pardoning myself. Way
exactly.
to go.
Full pardon. No, but I think you should just tell him. And then maybe you can just buy... because...
In this case...
Just when he had a saved game.
I think this person is absolved.
Really?
I think Video Game Stupid is absolved. Because this person clearly doesn't care about this, hasn't remembered it all.
Oh, and doesn't remember?
Video Game Stupid has made up for it by giving all these gifts.
But maybe you wouldn't have to give all these things. You just tell him what happened.
Why?
Because then you could just have it off your conscience.
Does this person listen to this podcast? This can be the medium for this healing to happen.
We're the mediators? Us too? That's not good.
Who's going to heal our relationship?
Nobody.
Give it back.
No, you gave it to me.
I'm really upset about it. I didn't give it to you. I let you borrow it. That's our last question.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, should we shout out our wonderful superstars? Why are you smiling?
Yeah.
You can go first.
Okay.
Superstars.
Yes, these are our Patreon superstars. Here we go. Aaron Hash.
Ben Eichhorn.
MaruMayhem.
Eigenverse.
Jordan Collett.
KissMyFlapjack.
Mike Chin.
Mr. Rogers.
RainTech.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up _
Sephazon.
TheSharkAmongMen.
vgmlife.
Link, the hero wins.
Angela Bycroft and her pig Molly.
TurboChargeNerd.
Thomas O'Rourke.
And Simon Barrera.
Woohoo!
All right.
Okay. Now, we're going to shout out our wonderful One Up Club members. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Aaron Burgundy.
Adam and Ansley.
Jean Malari.
Ale Alejandro.
Alexandra Pratt.
Astrodev.
Blazed and Enthused.
Bookem Dano.
Brad, SF56.
Brookie Kazooie.
Bruce Dash.
Chancellor Fairley.
Christopher Lay.
Cozy Tar.
Captain Cinnamon Buns.
Captain Alex.
C. Roper 17.
Daniel Cold.
Daniel Phillips.
Daniel Valencia.
Dawson.
Doodoo Face.
Dino Punch.
Elite Peach.
Esparts 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Furbound.
Fernie and Jess Forever.
Fox Deploy and his dog Bernard.
Fred Rossi.
Garrett Holfish.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
G Sun 101.
Ian Shea.
Israel Izzy.
Jay Rando.
Jabroni Jones.
Jason Ball 34.
JK99.
JBJ.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Jerry 92602.
Jesse Hernandez.
John Responte.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joseph DeHaze.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Julius Westenberg.
Just Camtro.
Kawa 2796.
Kelp Shake.
Kevin Delane.
Krisu.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Berry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyle LaBouffe.
Kyler Nelson.
Linnell Stickman.
Lego My Froggo.
Lemma.
Lil Sebastian.
Lit.
Mad Dog 5981.
Marky Man 64.
Matthew Rewald.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Michael White.
Mikey.
Monster Jordy.
Modamania.
Mr. Andy Pond.
Mytran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Panda Buns.
Paul Gale Network.
Piano Psychopath.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Reaver.
Ray Chiron.
Ryuji Utsuho Oku'u.
Renee Rivers.
Ryath 1.
RJ Kern.
Rob Osborne.
Roxana Rex.
Rocks.
Ryanetta.
Sam Nealon.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Slowbro.
Schmiggles.
Shrews.
Silly Ferret.
Sparkling Salt.
Spicy Munchkin.
Starholt Productions.
Steel Citrone.
Tales of Link.
Tefyu.
Terror Storm 64.
Thomas Alvarez.
Travis Torline.
Troopage.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Geis.
Video Game Stupid.
Virtual Bot.
Wicked Davy.
Will Ernst.
Will Johnson.
Zudaverf.
Zelgaroth.
And Zroid. Okay. I'm feeling much better than I did last time.
Oh, good. I was just about to ask.
When I had to go to the bathroom.
Got a problem. Oh, no.
I'm feeling good today. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Well, anyways, don't forget to join us on patreon.com/KitandKrysta. Support this and everything that we do on our channels and help us get to Japan so we can make tons of fun content for you.
That's right. If you're watching on video, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're listening on audio, some people don't know that we have video and audio versions of this podcast. We got it all.
Yes.
If you're one of our great audio listeners, you can leave us a 5-star rating and also a written review.
And don't forget to follow us on our other social media channels. We are on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. All right. I think that's an episode. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.